Dr. Robotnik is the ruler of Planet Mobius. The merciless dictator, fueled with hatred, forces the residents of Mobius to live in constant fear and misery under his ruthless regime. The only thing standing between Robotnik and absolute rule over Mobius is Sonic the Hedgehog and his band of freedom fighters, as well as guardian of the floating island, Knuckles the Echidna. Sonic and company have proved to be a massive headache for Robotnik. Robotnik sent his loyal minions to deal with them, but they all failed. Even his greatest creation yet, Metallix the Metal Sonic, and its successor, the Mark II, was destroyed. But the biggest blow to Robotnik was the destruction of his Death Egg. Robotnik used countless resources and time to build his ultimate weapon of mass destruction, but in the end, it was destroyed by Sonic and Knuckles. During Robotnik and Sonic's last encounter, Sonic accidentally knocked Robotnik off the floating island's edge. His jet boost saved him from death, though they was heavily damaged. It was not a soft landing. The impact was hard. Robotnik was soon found by a Badnik patrol and he was rushed to hospital. An unconscious Robotnik would lay here for some time. Meanwhile, Sonic secretly moved the residents of the Emerald Hill Zone, the Emerald Hill folk, to the floating island. Being Sonic's home zone, Robotnik had sworn revenge on these innocent people. Robotnik wanted blood, and the Emerald Hill folk was to be the first victims of his Death Egg. With the Death Egg now destroyed, Sonic knew Robotnik would want revenge, which is why Sonic moved the Emerald Hill folk to the floating island. And with the floating island now operating on full emerald power, they would be safe here, to live in secrecy and safety from Robotnik's wrath. Well, that's the idea anyway. Just what would Robotnik's plans be going forward for Mobius, as well as dealing with Sonic and the Freedom Fighters? Let's find out as we head to Betrayals to Revolution, the Calamity of Dr. Robotnik. Robotnik, still recuperating in the hospital, orders Grimer that he is green-lighting his new base of operations, and wants construction to begin immediately. Robotnik's new base is to be built in the heart of his evil empire, the Metropolis Zone. No more Death Eggs or any flying fortress of the type. Robotnik had wasted far too much time and resources on these megastructures. They were now a liability to him, and above anything, Robotnik learns from his mistakes. Robotnik's new fortress would be the tallest skyscraper in the Metropolis Zone, and as with the Death Egg, it would be shaped in Robotnik's image, showcasing again the narcissistic side to the dictator. Grimer leaves the hospital and begins planning the construction of what would become Citadel Robotnik. This would be a round-the-clock job. Robotnik expected this fortress built as soon as possible. For now, he would run his empire from his hospital bed. Some time had passed, and high in the sky on the floating island we find Knuckles the Echidna in the Emerald Chamber, who is very happy to have the Master Emerald back in his possession, as well as the floating island finally being rid of Dr. Robotnik. For the first time in centuries, all the emeralds are fully powered up, which means Knuckles can easily maintain a protective field around the island. So if old Egg Breath ever shows up here again, he'll be in for a surprise. Knuckles leaves the Emerald Chamber to check in on his new residents to the floating island, the Emerald Hill folk. The Emerald Hill folk are settling into their new home in the Mushroom Hill Zone. Knuckles comments that they appear to be making the most of it. Knuckles just hopes that they keep to themselves and don't bother him. Knuckles then goes to observe some of the damage on the floating island, caused by the Death Egg. A massive crater. Hard to believe that it was caused by just one blast from Robotnik's Death Egg. Suddenly, Knuckles notices an artifact half buried in the rubble of the crater. It turns out to be a large stone ring with ancient writing on it. Knuckles tries to translate the writing. He thinks it says something about a gateway to a dream country. Suddenly, the ancient ring springs to life and starts to hum and glow. Knuckles has no time to react and he is sucked through it and disappears. Knuckles emerges in a strange dimension full of geometrical shapes and bizarre properties. Knuckles realises that the ring didn't mean Dream Country, but rather Nightmare Country, his people's name for the Special Zone, and now Knuckles is trapped here. Suddenly, Knuckles is interrupted by a voice behind him. The voice tells Knuckles to put all thoughts of escape behind him, and refers to Knuckles as a villain. It's the Omniviewer, a sentient energy field. Robotnik had enslaved the Omniviewer when he lived in the Special Zone in the Egg Fortress. With the Omniviewer's powers, Robotnik was able to trap Sonic while he took over Mobius. But when Robotnik abandoned his fortress and left the Special Zone for the Launch Base Zone, Omni regained his independence. Omni claims to know all about Knuckles' alliance with Robotnik. Omni believes he is still working with him. Knuckles tries to explain that Omni's information is totally out of date. Words are of no interest to the Omniviewer. Knuckles' fate is already decided. The Omniviewer then teleports in Chaotix, Guardians of the Special Zone. Planet Mobius. Metropolis Zone City has a new landmark. Citadel Robotnik has finished construction and is now fully operational. The tyrant's leering face looks down on the city, a constant reminder of his domination over all of Planet Mobius. Based in the centre of the Metropolis Zone, Citadel Robotnik will serve as Robotnik's capital building and will allow the Doctor to keep a much closer eye on his people than had been possible from his earlier bases in the Special Zone and the Launch Base Zone. Robotnik maintains an office in the Citadel, with Receptionik acting as his secretary and personal assistant. He also has a laboratory in the basement, of which Grimer currently resides, currently creating new and deadly machines. With Receptionik taking over some of Grimer's duties of a personal assistant, Grimer would be able to spend much more time in the laboratory. Robotnik's first order of business in his new Citadel? Revenge. He orders two of his top decorated generals, Rust and Bucket, to perform a complete raid on the Emerald Hill Zone. Robotnik wants the entire Emerald Hill folk enslaved and sent to be processed at one of his feared processing plants.
I'll make the Emerald Hill folk suffer like never before. I'll make them all pay for what happened to me.
The two generals then leave Citadel Robotnik, and with a platoon of troopers make their way to the Emerald Hill Zone. The Special Zone. When Dr. Robotnik moved his base of operations to the Metropolis Zone, most people thought that his old egg fortress was left deserted. They were wrong. Suddenly, two Metallix fly out of the egg fortress and speed through the Special Zone. They have a positive fix on a target and intend to effect capture. Meanwhile, in another part of the Special Zone, Knuckles has just met the mysterious group known as Chaotix. Under the instruction of the Omniviewer, Chaotix, consisting of Mighty the Armadillo, Espio the Chameleon, Charmy Bee, Nack the Weasel, and team leader Vector the Crocodile, believe that Knuckles is still working for Robotnik. Knuckles again attempts to explain the truth, but to no avail. Vector directs his teammate Mighty to soften him up a bit. A fight now breaks out between Knuckles and Chaotix. Knuckles realises there's no point trying to reason with Chaotix anymore. They are obviously all crazy. Knuckles manages to get the upper hand until he is ambushed by Espio, who is hiding thanks to his ability to blend into any background. Espio tries to pin Knuckles down until Nack can finish him off, but Knuckles is able to get free and knock them both aside in one sweep. Finally, Vector steps in, attempting to catch Knuckles between his powerful jaws. However, Knuckles is able to dodge the attack, then deliver an uppercut to Vector's chin, causing him to bite his own tongue. Suddenly, the Omniviewer reappears and tells Chaotix to stop the fight. Omni has been checking out Knuckles' story and finds out the truth. Knuckles was being duped by Robotnik. Knuckles reconfirms that when he found out, he immediately turned on Robotnik. Just then, Charmy notices a couple of dark spots on Omni's screen, and Mighty agrees. Omni brushes this off as impossible. Nothing can get into his personal workspace without his permission. But it's true. Knuckles confirms that it appears to be two figures, but what's worse, they look sort of familiar to him. The figures then come into full view. It's Metallix, but now there are two of him. These are the same Metallix that left the Egg Fortress earlier. Just when Chaotix had accepted that Knuckles was on their side, two Metallix appeared on the Omni viewer's screen. Omni pleads for someone to please help him. Vector tries his absolute best to help his friend, but it's no good. The Metallix have locked them out, and even the all-powerful Omni viewer can't override it. The Metallix then transfer Omni's program onto a small handheld device, then vanish, leaving only an empty frame hanging in space. The Omni viewer is gone. Looks like the Metallix got what they came for. Knuckles explains to Chaotix that he met a Metallix before in the Sky Sanctuary Zone, just one of them, and it fought himself and Sonic to a standstill. Vector doesn't care how strong they are, they've got to stop them. Nack immediately accuses Knuckles of being involved. Surely it's no coincidence that Knuckles turned up shortly before the Metallix did. Maybe he's still working for Robotnik. Espio however explains that Omni vouched for Knuckles, and Omni wouldn't lie. Knuckles is Robotnik's sworn enemy now. Nack says he still doesn't trust him. Knuckles asks Vector where he thinks the Metallix would take the Omni viewer. Vector says the Metallix would most likely take Omni to Robotnik's abandoned Egg Fortress. That must be it. Knuckles takes charge and he and Chaotix make their way to the Egg Fortress. Meanwhile, the two Metallix deliver the Omni viewer to their leader, the Emperor Metallix. The Egg Fortress was simply too valuable an asset for Robotnik to just throw away. So when Robotnik left the Special Zone for the Launch Base Zone, the Egg Fortress was left to run on automatic, creating an army of Metallix Badniks, with the purpose of creating the ultimate Sonic form Badnik. After all, if Sonic struggled so much against the first Metallix and the Mark II, then imagine how he'd fare against the ultimate Metal Sonic Metallix. Not to mention supported by an army of Metallix. That is Robotnik's plans and vision for the Egg Fortress, and hopefully in time, the fate of Sonic the Hedgehog. And thus, the Emperor Metallix. Although the original Metallix had been built by Robotnik and Grimer, the Emperor was built by the Metallix themselves. The Emperor is a giant red and gold Metallix that leads and commands the other Metallix. Unlike the other Metallix who have abilities modelled after Sonic, the Emperor is permanently hardwired into a high-tech throne. The Emperor has a much higher intelligence compared to the other Metallix, and appears as if he is almost self-aware. The Omni viewer demands to know what's going on, and says they're making a big mistake and they'll be sorry. The Metallix ignore Omni as he continues to demand an answer. In response, the Emperor disables Omni's audio link, then proceeds to the second stage of their plan. At that very moment outside the Egg Fortress, Knuckles and Chaotix have arrived. Knuckles fears it won't be easy to get through the hull, but Mighty just pushes him aside. Waiting's for wimps! And smashes a huge hole with a single punch. Mighty is very pleased with his handiwork, but the others aren't impressed. They wanted to break in quietly, and now the alarms have been triggered. Knuckles comments that it looks like they're going to have to do this the hard way. Meanwhile, back at Citadel Robotnik, Generals Rust and Bucket arrive back at the Citadel. Dr. Robotnik immediately summons them to his office with the hope of good news.
Well, fools, report! Are the people of the Emerald Hill Zone enslaved yet?
However, the generals explain that there was a problem.
Problem? What do you mean, problem?
They reveal that the entire zone is deserted, and that they took no slaves. Robotnik becomes furious.
It's that cursed hedgehog! Somehow he's hidden the Emerald Hill folk, taken them right under the noses of you two simpletons! That makes me mad!
With his own bare hands, Robotnik destroys his two generals. The receptionist then receives an incoming call from the doctor's office.
Receptionist! Call the caretaker department and tell them to bring a couple of large bin bags.
This was completely absurd to Robotnik. How could Sonic have hidden the entire zone in such a quick time frame? He couldn't have hidden everyone.
That's it,
he pondered. Surely there were some residents who were away from the Emerald Hill Zone when Sonic emptied the zone. Robotnik sends out an immediate order to his minions. Robotnik wants a background check done on all Mobians across the planet. If they are indeed a resident of the Emerald Hill Zone, he will find them. They will not escape. In the Special Zone, Knuckles and Chaotix begin their search for the Omni Viewer in Robotnik's old base, the Egg Fortress. Unbeknown to them, the Emperor Metallix is fully aware of their intrusion and their attempt to rescue Omni. The Emperor tells the helpless Omni that his would-be rescuers' efforts are doomed to failure. He then sends one of the Metallix to deal with them. Elsewhere, Knuckles and Chaotix roam the halls of the Egg Fortress. Espio and Mighty nearly come to blows after Espio blames Mighty for tripping the alarms. Knuckles is able to break them up. Charmy then returns from a quick recon mission, saying one of the Metallix is heading straight for them. Vector commands everyone to get in the ventilation shaft, despite Mighty commenting on it being a cliché. There's barely enough space for everyone, and Nack accidentally kicks the grate, revealing the team's presence to Metallix. Nack quickly runs away while the others wonder if Metallix will demand they surrender. Wrong. Metallix has no interest in surrender. His mission is to destroy and fires his death ray directly at them. Chaotix try to fight back but are easily defeated by Metallix, who proceeds to fire another death ray above them, causing the ceiling to collapse down on top of them, burying them in rubble. Metallix confirms that 4 subjects are disabled, however his records indicate that there was 5 authorised targets. Knuckles then emerges and points out to Metallix that there was actually 6 of them. Metallix recognises Knuckles as Robotnik's former ally and connects him with the destruction of the Death Egg. Knuckles means business, he isn't messing around. He confirms Metallix's information as correct and tells Metallix to remember his name, as it's the last thing he's ever going to hear. Knuckles is about to go one-on-one against the deadly Metallix. Dr. Robotnik's plan had worked. His troopers had recovered 35 residents of the Emerald Hill Zone who were not home at the time of when Sonic cleared the zone. At last, some revenge, he thought. It may not be the entire zone, but it's a start. They were to be sent to be immediately processed at the Badnik processing plant in Metropolis. On the outskirts of the city, Bob Beakey's travelling circus attempts to get inside, claiming to be booked to perform for Dr. Robotnik himself. The troopers, however, will not let them in. Penguin leader Bob Beakey steps out to speak with the trooper, but when he removes his top hat and coat, he is revealed to be Sonic. Sonic quickly destroys the troopers, even tricking one into shooting another. The Freedom Fighters, now back in their usual clothes, locate the Badnik processing plant where the 35 residents of the Emerald Hill folk are located. Sonic has found out about Robotnik's orders of seizing the remaining Emerald Hill folk from the Kintobor computer. He's not going to let Robotnik get his way. Sonic is determined to save them. Inside the jail, the prisoners are being led away to be turned into Badniks. The prisoners have given up all hope and are about to accept their fate, but one of the prisoners can't take it anymore. It's like lambs to the slaughter, he shouts, and makes a run for it. He's got to get away. Another prisoner shouts at him to stop. He'll never make it. The Lizard Overseer agrees with the Mobian and catches the runaway with ease using his whip. The Lizard Overseer is the one assigned to lead the 35 Emerald Hill folk to be turned into Badniks. The Overseer is a brutal and sadistic minion of Robotnik who relishes in punishing prisoners. Before the Overseer can punish the poor Mobian who tried to escape, the alarm sounds. He spots 5 old-style Badniks on ground level carrying a large metal box and orders them to stay where they are. Their cover has been blown. The freedom fighters jump out of their Badnik disguise, ready for action. Sonic is attempting to rescue 35 of the Emerald Hill folk from Robotnik's processing plant in the Metropolis Zone. Things are not going that well. They have now been detected by the Lizard Overseer. The Overseer immediately commands the troopers to get them. A battle now takes place between the freedom fighters and the troopers. The troopers prove to be no match for the excellent coordination of the freedom fighters and are destroyed. Sonic makes a path for Porker and Tails to take their canister through a side door to set things up. The prisoners start to notice what's going on. It's Sonic! They believe they are all saved. However, the Overseer claims the place is still crawling with guards. Sonic will never make it up here. Sonic immediately proves false to his claims and runs to face off against the Overseer. After a comment about the lizard's bad breath, Sonic ties him up with his own whip. Sonic checks to see if anyone had been turned into Badniks, of which one of the Mobian replies with no. Sonic then quickly hurries the rest of the Emerald Hill folk into the side room where Tails is waiting. They wonder how they'll escape, but Sonic tells them to trust him and ushers them inside. Amy and Johonny hold off reinforcements before it's time for everyone to go. Once they are all inside, they shut the door behind them. The Lizard Overseer, now untied, returns and laughs at their attempts. That's just a small broom cupboard. But wait, how could they all fit in there? He kicks the door open to find just Sonic and the Star Post. Sonic has transported everyone else to another Star Post miles away. Sonic remained as he needs to take the Star Post away. It's far too valuable to leave behind. There are barely any Star Posts left on Mobius since Robotnik destroyed most of them. The Overseer claims that it's Sonic's bad luck then, as he'll be able to deal with Sonic himself. He raises his whip once more. Sonic isn't worried though, and grabs the whip once again. Sonic quickly defeats the Overseer and packs away the Star Post before more trooper reinforcements arrive. Meanwhile, the Emerald Hill folk reappear on the floating island. They're safe now, and will be able to rejoin their friends and family already living here. Tails hopes that Sonic made it out okay. Of course he did. Sonic bursts out of the window while riding on the Star Post canister, which is fitted with rockets. Sonic is pleased with today's success, but he knows there is still some of the Emerald Hill folk out there, being hunted by Robotnik's forces, not to mention all the other countless enslaved Mobians. Sonic states that he will never rest until every one of them is free. Later that day, the bad news is brought to Robotnik. The Overseer reports the breakout by video link. Robotnik is unusually calm about this predicament.
35 rescued, you say? Most regrettable. Still, it's only a matter of time. I'll find out where the Emerald Hill folk are hiding, and then I will have my revenge.
Chaotix have been buried under tons of rubble by the deadly Metallix. Now Knuckles faces him alone. Metallix sets his sights on Knuckles, his final target. Knuckles calls Metallix a murderer. He came to rescue the Omni-Viewer, and now Chaotix have been eliminated, he decides to complete the mission alone. Unfortunately, this will be no easy task for Knuckles. Metallix is one of the strongest opponents there is. As fast as Sonic, Metallix avoids Knuckles' punches, then tries to blast Knuckles with his powerful Death Ray. Knuckles just about missed the beam. He then goes straight back to trying to punch Metallix. Knuckles may have the strength advantage, but all that power is no good if he can't hit Metallix. Metallix quickly jumps behind Knuckles, catching the Echidna off guard, and this time hitting Knuckles with his lethal Death Ray. Knuckles collapses, and Metallix then goes to investigate the body to confirm termination. Just then, Knuckles leaps to his feet holding a girder. He tells Metallix to peekaboo before immediately hurling the girder straight at Metallix. In that split second, Metallix is unable to dodge and the girder goes straight into his body, impaling him. Metallix is defeated. The battle is over, but then suddenly Nack reappears. Nack had fled the scene earlier, and he is very impressed that Knuckles was able to defeat Metallix. Nack must have been watching, but why didn't he help Knuckles during the fight? Doesn't matter, they need to check on what became of Chaotix. They investigate the area where the ceiling collapsed on Chaotix. Suddenly, the rubble moves. Chaotix are still alive. Mighty saved them all with his incredible strength. Knuckles explains for them not to worry as he has dealt with Metallix, but their reunion is cut short as Metallix is back on his feet. Heavily damaged and with a massive hole where his chest once was and crackling with electricity, Metallix is prepared to fight once again. Chaotix and Knuckles, however, make a run for it, as Nack says he has managed to find out where the Omni-Viewer is being held captive. The heavily damaged Metallix is unable to keep up with them, as he limps on, falling further and further behind. Nack leads them to a door, telling them to move quickly, they don't have much time. Once they all enter, Knuckles and Chaotix are shocked. Nack has brought them all into the Lion's Den. He has brought them all straight to the Emperor Metallix. They are quickly surrounded by 4 more Metallix. Nack goes and stands beside the Emperor. Nack has betrayed his fellow comrades in Chaotix. Nack expresses for them all not to worry. He got a good price for selling them out. The Emperor agrees. Do not be concerned, Weasel. You will get what you deserve. Knuckles demands to know why Nack has betrayed them. Why would you do this to us, Nack? Nack simply replies with money. What else? It was because of Nack that the Brotherhood of Metallix was able to capture the Omni-Viewer. Nack gave the Emperor the Omni-Viewer's access codes, enabling him to break into his systems. Nack also tricked his companions into walking into a trap. He expects to be well paid. Unfortunately for Nack, however, the Emperor has no further use for him. The Emperor orders he be destroyed along with the others. It turns out, however, that Nack expected some treachery, so he brought along a little insurance, a disruptor gun, which he had shrunk to a tiny size in his hat. All Nack needs is a second to wait for it to grow to full size. Though a mere second is all Metallix needs. A Metallix blasts Nack from behind with its death ray, seemingly eliminating him. Knuckles leaps for the disruptor gun. Knuckles doesn't know exactly what it is, but the Metallixes don't seem to like the look of it, and that's enough for Knuckles to risk making a leap for it. Knuckles dodges blasts from multiple Metallix until he can figure out how to use it. At last, Knuckles thinks he's got it. He fires the disruptor gun. The blast rocks the entire room. The Metallix fall to the ground as the Emperor outputs alert warnings. All systems shutting down. A single blast has shut down all the Metallix in the Egg Fortress. Nack clearly wasn't taking any chances when he sided with the Metallix. Espio checks on Nack, who luckily did not take the full blast and managed to survive. Vector retrieves the Omni-Viewer, who claims to be fully operational, though there is some damage to his system directory. Their mission complete, Knuckles and Chaotix go home. A short time later, a strange glow appears over the floating island. The Omni-Viewer has transported Knuckles back to the floating island. Incredible! Instant transportation to anywhere in the galaxy. I can see why the Metallix were so keen to get their hands on you, Omni-Viewer. Knuckles asks if he's sure the Metallix didn't damage him in any way. Omni explains that he doesn't remember much about what happened, but he seems to be in working order. Knuckles still has a bad feeling about all this. The Metallix are meant to serve Dr. Robotnik, but it felt like they were working for themselves. At that very moment, back at the Egg Fortress, a backup system activates and all the Metallix come back online. The Emperor's plan has succeeded. Their enemies believe them to be destroyed. They can now continue with their plans without further disturbance. The Metallix now have their own copy of the Omni-Viewer's program, now sporting an angry red face. This is why they captured the Omni-Viewer, to create their own copy of him for themselves. Dozens more Metallix now stand before the Emperor. Time and space are now theirs to control. They can travel anywhere in any time period. Soon, the Emperor says, the Brotherhood of Metallix will rule supreme. A few weeks later, in the abandoned Emerald Hill Zone, we find a couple of individuals walking around. It's Dr. Robotnik himself, along with Grimer.
I knew the reports were true, but I had to check for myself. You understand, don't you, Grimer?
Of course, Doctor.
This zone used to be thriving with activity. Its residents rushing this way and that, especially when I'd attack them with Badniks. But then Sonic had to go and spoil everything by leading them away to a secret location.
Grimer reassures his master that they still have plenty of other zones to bring chaos and disorder to.
You're right, Grimer. Time I stopped feeling sorry for myself and did something destructive.
The tyrant then leaves the Emerald Hill Zone and makes his way back to the Metropolis Zone. Later that day, the Stone Tower Zone, where residents have made their homes in the unusually high rock formations. A place largely ignored by Robotnik. He prefers to pollute greener zones, but he will ignore it no longer. Suddenly, the ground begins to shake. Is it an earthquake? No, it's a gigantic dinosaur-sized Badnik. A monitor flies through the zone. On it appears Robotnik.
Greetings, happy residents of the Stone Tower Zone. Today you have the honor of meeting my newest creation, Mekanik.
Luckily, for the Stone Tower Zone residents, they have some familiar visitors, Sonic and company. They had heard a rumour about something big going down. This is certainly no normal Badnik. Sonic tries to super spin attack Mekanik's ankle, only to bounce harmlessly away. The three freedom fighters are swatted aside by Mekanik's massive towel. Sonic manages to get everyone to a safe distance again. Sonic states that Tails would have been a massive help on this mission, but it can't be helped. Tails is currently in the Nameless Zone with Knuckles dealing with his own problems. But help is on the way from another friend of Sonic, Shortfuse the Cybernik. He fires on Mekanik with his arm lasers, but can't even make a scratch. Shortfuse and Sonic agree to work together, just as long as Sonic gets top billing, of course. Amy distracts Mekanik, firing an arrow in the space between its armour. Shortfuse flies Sonic up to Mekanik's head height, however Sonic doesn't have the chance to perform more than a single ineffective spin attack, because Mekanik blasts Shortfuse out of the air with its powerful fire breath, then grabs Sonic in its metal hand. It looks like Sonic will be getting the same treatment, except Sonic doesn't have protective armour to save him. Mekanik has a firm grip around Sonic. On the ground, Amy and Johonny usher the civilians to safety and then seek out Shortfuse, whose crash landing has created a small crater in the rocky ground. A little bit dazed from the fall, but thankfully Shortfuse is okay. Shortfuse has got to move quick. Mekanik is about to barbecue Sonic. Just in the nick of time, Shortfuse blasts Mekanik's hand, freeing Sonic. Amy is impressed, though Sonic claims he could have figured a way out, but thought he'd give the Cybernik something to do. Shortfuse doesn't take this well, and says that Sonic would be a fried hedgehog if he hadn't intervened. But Sonic isn't really listening. Yeah, okay, later, Sonic replies. Sonic is more concerned about how they're going to stop Mekanik. Amy mentions that she fired a bolt between his armour earlier, but otherwise he's invincible. Suddenly Sonic gets an idea. Mekanik may be invincible on the outside, but maybe not the inside. Sonic tells Shortfuse to follow him. He is going to need his help. Nice to be appreciated, replies the Cybernik. Sonic tells Shortfuse to concentrate his blaster fire on one area of Mekanik's leg. Shortfuse is able to weaken the armour enough so that Sonic can break a hole with his spin attack. Mekanik notices the damage caused to him. Sonic climbs inside and tells Shortfuse to keep Mekanik busy while he takes care of things from inside. Gee, I get all the easy jobs, the Cybernik sarcastically comments. Inside the huge robot, Sonic starts pulling out wires and says that Robotnik's work looks impressive from the outside, but it's shoddy inside. Mekanik begins to react to the damage caused to him from the inside, and begins to shake, and then starts to fall apart. He's falling to pieces. Amy and Johonny quickly move out of the way of the collapsing, destroyed Badnik. Sonic emerges once the dust clears. Sonic had used his super speed to cause vibrations inside the giant Badnik, literally shaking Mekanik apart. Sonic is pleased with his work. No matter how big they are, Badniks always get bad vibes when I'm around. Sonic acknowledges that Shortfuse helped too when the Cybernik interrupts. Shortfuse takes off. It's time for him to leave, but replies that it was good working with you, Sonic. He and Sonic worked well together. Sonic thanks him and comments that a certain old egg butt must be hopping mad by now. Sure enough, in Citadel Robotnik, the news is broke to the evil dictator. Robotnik is literally jumping with rage.
That hedgehog and that renegade Badnik destroyed my Mekanik! Do you know how much that giant robot cost, Grimer?
But Grimer replies that most of the cost came from the taxpayers' money. Robotnik ignores Grimer's response.
Perhaps it's time I changed my tactics, Grimer. Took some of the strain off my shoulders. Perhaps it's time to begin work on Project Brutus.
Project Brutus. This project was to create a second-in-command to Dr. Robotnik. This project had been in the pipelines for some time, but had always been delayed by other priorities at the time, such as the Death Egg's construction, Metallix, and Citadel Robotnik. But now was the time to begin work on Robotnik's long-awaited second-in-command. The candidate for this had already been chosen by Robotnik, the trooper called Brutus. Brutus had served in the SBS, the Special Badnik Service, for some time now, and always achieved impressive results on his missions, enslaving and torturing many Mobians in the process. It was these results and methods that garnered Robotnik's attention.
He will be perfect for the role.
Brutus would now be stationed in Grimer's laboratory and shut down. He was about to undertake reconstructions and modifications to become the ultimate trooper. But these would be no simple upgrades. Oh no, this was going to be game-changing. Robotnik wasn't going to cut any corners this time around. Robotnik also had another demand for Project Brutus. The trooper having his original computer brain wasn't enough. He wanted Brutus to have a copy of his own brainwaves too. He wanted Brutus to be as rotten and as evil as himself. It was only fitting. After all, he would soon be the second-in-command. Brutus needed to make an impression on Mobius. Grimer got to work immediately. These upgrades would take some time, and in a very rare moment, Robotnik would be patient with the development. He wanted Brutus to be perfect. It's been 1 month since Sonic defeated Mekanik. The Freedom Fighters have arrived at the outskirts of the Metropolis Zone. They are searching for a new Badnik that has been detected by the Kintobor computer. Porker activates the security field around their travelling circus, of which the Freedom Fighters still used to travel Mobius in disguise in, since Robotnik destroyed their secret base. The Kintobor computer is still crammed inside a cramped laptop, though he still insists he is still state-of-the-art. Sonic tells everyone to keep watch. There's no telling what kind of deadly Badnik Robotnik has come up with this time. Suddenly, a new ridiculous-looking and obviously incompetent Badnik called Mr. Blobnik appears. Mr. Blobnik carries a yellow umbrella and a floral-patterned bubble pipe. This is the new deadly Badnik Robotnik has created? I don't believe it! Robotnik's finally flipped, comments Sonic. Mr. Blobnik insists that he has been designed to defeat Sonic, but he's so slow that he can't even touch him. Mr. Blobnik complains at Sonic to keep still. It's not fair. Sonic is quite happy dealing with this Badnik single-handed and lets his friends sit back and watch. Meanwhile, in Citadel Robotnik, at the center of Metropolis Zone, Robotnik and Grimer discuss their latest plan.
This ridiculous Mr. Blobnik better work, Grimer, or I'll have your head.
Despite the absurdity of Mr. Blobnik, Grimer is certain that it cannot fail. Suddenly, a red screen materializes in mid-air in front of them. It's the pirated Omni Viewer. A Metallix steps through the viewing surface and grabs Grimer. The Metallix comments that the Brotherhood of Metallix have need of him. Metallix then drags Grimer back through it. Grimer shouts for his master to help. Robotnik demands Metallix to stop.
Metallix, stop! I command you! I am your master, you fool! Come back!
But it's too late. Metallix refuses and then disappears along with Grimer.
What's going on? The Metallix project is meant to be busy developing a Badnik version of Sonic. If they are no longer under my control, they might be capable of anything.
Back in Metropolis, Mr. Blobnik reveals that his secret weapon, his umbrella, will blast Sonic into... but then realizes he forgot to put the batteries in. As he fumbles with the 2 red batteries, Sonic decides he has had enough, and that Blobnik's time is now up. At this same point in time in the Special Zone, Robotnik's old base, the Egg Fortress. Now it belongs to the Brotherhood of Metallix. Grimer is brought before the Emperor Metallix. This is meant to be an automated factory designed to produce the ultimate Metal Sonic. What happened? Questions Grimer. The Emperor responds that Grimer designed them too well. Their purpose has changed. Nervously, Grimer asks what is the Emperor's new purpose. Not that he has to tell him if he doesn't want to. The Emperor tells Grimer to observe the main viewer. Grimer sees the Miracle Planet. He mentions that Dr. Robotnik once thought that he could use it as an infinite energy source for the original Metallix. That is correct, replies the Emperor, and now the Brotherhood of Metallix require that power for our own purposes, and you, Grimer, will help us to get it. Realizing he has no choice at all in the matter, Grimer agrees to help him. Meanwhile, it looks like it's all over for Mr. Blobnik. Sonic spins around Mr. Blobnik at super speed, and then suddenly the Badnik explodes in a stream of bubbles. As Amy helps the young bear that was trapped inside the odd machine, Porker and Johonny look for Sonic, only to find that Sonic is now trapped inside an impenetrable bubble that seems to be floating away. Mr. Blobnik's head detaches from the wreckage, laughing at the freedom fighters for underestimating him due to his foolish appearance. It was a ruse all along. Mr. Blobnik has defeated Sonic. Blobnik's head grabs onto Sonic's bubble and takes him away as his prisoner, leaving Sonic very embarrassed. Evening falls in the Metropolis Zone, and the imprisoned Sonic is brought before Robotnik. At last, Robotnik has Sonic at his mercy. Sonic expects Robotnik to torture him. However, the circumstances are far from happy for Robotnik. Though it pains him to say so, Robotnik plans to let Sonic go. Sonic doesn't believe a word Robotnik is saying. This has got to be some sort of trick.
No trick, Sonic. We must combine our forces. There is now an enemy so dangerous that it threatens to destroy the both of us. And if we fail, the Brotherhood of Metallix will rule all of Mobius.
Robotnik has finally captured Sonic. But as soon as the Doctor has his most hated of enemy, he lets him go. Robotnik frees Sonic from his bubble prison and says he needs his help. They are both in great danger from the Brotherhood of Metallix. Sonic is very skeptical of Robotnik at first, but then remembers that the Metallix he fought in the Sky Sanctuary Zone mentioned a Brotherhood. Sonic asks just how many of these Metallix are there?
I wish I knew, but I do know that they've taken over my old base in the Special Zone. They're up to something. Not long ago they were here. They kidnapped Grimer.
Sonic interrupts Robotnik. He thinks the only reason he wants him to go to the Special Zone is to rescue his creepy sidekick. Dream on, lard bucket. Robotnik, however, is very serious.
Grimer created the Metallix program. If they have him, he might find a way to make them unstoppable.
Robotnik reveals that the Metallixes have sealed all entrances into the Special Zone, except for one, his star post, which only Sonic can use. Finally, Sonic realizes why Robotnik needs his help. Sonic agrees to go and check out Robotnik's story, but warns that he'll be back if he finds out it's a trick. Sonic arrives in the Special Zone. It's been quite some time since he was last here, but still states that he hates the place. Sonic heads directly for the Egg Fortress. Sonic enters the Egg Fortress through the hole that Mighty created previously. Sonic notes that it looks like he's not the first person to want to break into this place. Sonic finds crashed debris in several areas. There's been quite a fight in here. Unbeknown to Sonic, this was the aftermath of Knuckles and Chaotix's fight with Metallix. Otherwise, the place looks deserted. Moments later, and Sonic has checked about half of the fortress. Looks like whatever the Brotherhood of Metallix was up to here is finished. Just then, Sonic notices something from the ledge he is running on. It's Grimer, 2 Metallix, and the Emperor Metallix himself, who is now fixed into a mobile levitating throne. The other Metallix have already used the pirated Omniviewer to travel to the Miracle Planet. All that remains is them 4. Even with victory seems certain to the Emperor, he still makes sure to have 2 Metallix to guard him. The Emperor demands that Grimer give him the Alpha device, which Grimer holds. Grimer hands it over. If you have lied and the device fails to function, the Brotherhood will punish you, Grimer. You will not be able to hide from us. A terrified Grimer promises that it will work. Sonic doesn't know exactly what's going on here or what that device was Grimer gave to the Emperor, but something tells him it would be a real big mistake to let him keep it. Just as the Emperor is about to leave, Sonic snatches the Alpha device from his hand. "Tar muchly, I'll take that." The 2 Metallix guards immediately go on the attack, intending to recover the device. Sonic now goes head to head against 2 Metallix. The numbers start to catch up to Sonic, but Sonic manages to destroy one of the Metallix when it is accidentally struck by the other's death ray by moving it in harm's way. The other Metallix strikes Sonic, knocking him across the room and right next to the Alpha device. Realising that his attacker is about to strike again, Sonic grabs the Alpha device and with considerable force smacks Metallix with it, knocking his head clean off. Sonic has won. The 2 Metallix are destroyed. However, during the fight, the Emperor grabbed Grimer. The Emperor demands that Sonic hand over the device immediately or he will kill Grimer. Sonic finds this amusing. Why would he do anything to help his enemy, he asks. "Because you are a weak creature of flesh. You do not have the merciless nature of a Metallix." Yep, I've got to admit, you've got me there. Realising he has no choice, Sonic hands back the Alpha device as ordered, and the Emperor releases Grimer. The Emperor then leaves through the pirated Omniviewer to the Miracle Planet, stating that when he returns, let all of Mobius beware. Grimer is overjoyed that Sonic saved him, though Sonic is quick to point out that we all make mistakes, creepoid. The overjoy is short-lived. Sonic wants to go after the Metallix, but Grimer states that it's too late. They're already on the Miracle Planet, and they have the Alpha device. The Brotherhood of Metallix have already won. The Miracle Planet appears over Mobius once a month. It stays for only 3 days before vanishing again. Nobody knows where. Today is the 3rd day of the Miracle Planet's orbit over Mobius. Sonic, Amy, Porker and Johonny walk up along the chain that connects Mobius to the Miracle Planet. Sonic and Grimer had escaped the Special Zone. Sonic had then immediately joined his fellow freedom fighters to make haste to the Miracle Planet. Sonic knew he didn't have much time. The Miracle Planet would soon fade away, and the Brotherhood of Metallix had to be stopped. Sonic gripes that the last time he was on the Miracle Planet he was stuck for a month. Worse than that though, he was stuck there with Amy. Amy comments just how romantic it was. "I should have left you there, Amy," Sonic replies. Porker is nervous when he sees how high up they are, but Johonny talks him through it. Suddenly, the Freedom Fighters get a notification alarm. Someone is trying to contact them on their portable computer. Sonic confirms that that will be Robotnik. He gave him access to our channel. Wait, what? The other Freedom Fighters are speechless. Sonic explains that he gave Robotnik access to their channel so they could collaborate to beat the Brotherhood of Metallix. It's a temporary truce at best. Porker answers the call, and as Sonic said, it's Robotnik.
Why did you send Grimer back to me? He could have been useful to you. No one knows more about the traitorous Brotherhood of Metallix than Grimer.
Sonic replies that his operation is top secret, and he doesn't want any of Robotnik's cronies snooping around. Still, for the first time ever, Sonic and Robotnik teaming up to deal with a greater evil. With all their history together, no one could have seen this coming, temporary or not. On the Miracle Planet, the Emperor unites all the other Metallix to channel energy into the Alpha device, so that he can reshape the planet and unlock its limitless power. One of the Metallix detects 4 life forms approaching. The Emperor sends a Metallix to destroy the intruders. Nothing must interrupt them at this critical stage. Sonic and the others reach the Miracle Planet. Johonny states that they've walked right into the middle of them, as they can see the Metallix in the distance. But Sonic tells him to cool it. He was stuck here for a month, remember? Sonic had time to look around. Sonic found this entrance into the underground cave system from his last visit. There's miles of tunnels down there, and that's where they will all head now. They arrive in the caves, but Sonic knows that the Brotherhood is bound to come after them eventually, but his knowledge of these caves will give them the edge. Amy comments though that the last time Sonic was down here, he was lost for 2 days. That's what Sonic wanted Amy to think. Amy then realises that Sonic was hiding for 2 days from her. Sonic just wanted a bit of peace and quiet. Suddenly, Johonny hears something heading their way. They all immediately go hide behind some rocks in the cave. It's a Metallix, but Sonic is disappointed that they've only sent one of them. Sonic is going to have to alter his plan. Though they are out of sight, Metallix, using thermal imagery, detects 4 life signs, 10 degrees west. Metallix then fires his death ray in their direction. Johonny is first on his feet. He attacks Metallix with his staff, but Metallix snatches it out of the air and easily breaks it apart. With the broken sharp end of the staff, Metallix is ready to kill Johonny by stabbing him with it, until Sonic hits him with a spin attack. Sonic tells Amy to ready her crossbow. Robotnik told Sonic that the neck is a Metallix's weak spot. While Metallix is dazed, Amy aims her crossbow and with expert precision puts a crossbow bolt straight through his neck, causing Metallix to power off and collapse. Amy questions, now what though? They'll never be able to take them all out like that. Relax, replies Sonic. He has a new plan, and what's more, it's brilliant. Meanwhile, the Emperor reveals that the Alpha device is fully charged. The destiny of the Brotherhood of Metallix begins now. He hurls it into the ground where it sprouts metal tendrils that begin to spread across the grass. At the Metropolis Zone in Citadel Robotnik, Robotnik eagerly awaits news of the situation unfolding on the Miracle Planet. On the Miracle Planet, the Emperor has set up the sinister Alpha device, which has already begun to transform all the greenery of the small world into metal, to be used as a limitless power source. A Metallix approaches the Emperor with the 3 freedom fighters as prisoners, Sonic, Amy and Johonny, and reports to the Emperor that he has succeeded in capturing Sonic and his accomplices. Sonic states that it's not over yet, they'll find a way to beat you, Emperor. But the Emperor replies that you are too late. Just like that fool Dr. Robotnik, who imagined we would be content to serve him and his petty schemes. The Emperor reveals that with the Miracle Planet as a power source, they will build more Metallix, and when they are ready, they will return to Mobius. Suddenly, the Emperor reveals that something is wrong. There was 4 life forms, not 3. He asks the Metallix what happened to the other, but the Metallix simply keeps replying with the same response. Emperor, I have succeeded in capturing Sonic and his accomplices, again and again. Sonic, not shackled as it had seemed, grabs hold of Johonny and Amy and runs away before the Emperor can react. Sonic calls for Porker to act now, and Porker, hiding a small distance away, pushes a button on his remote. The Metallix who brought Sonic, Amy and Johonny back to the Emperor explodes. All nearby Metallix are blown apart, including the Emperor Metallix. Sonic and company quickly reunite with Porker. Everyone says that Porker did a great job reprogramming the Metallix and rigging it to explode, with Amy even giving Porker a kiss. Amy explains that they may have defeated that Metallix in the caves, but only Porker could have rigged it to explode. Their troubles are not over yet though. The Alpha device is still changing the Miracle Planet to metal. Sonic wants to just yank it out of there, but Porker checks his device and confirms that he's picking up absolute massive energy readings. If this thing explodes, it's going to take the whole planet with it. The operating system is booby-trapped. If Porker closes down the wrong program, it will be game over for everyone. For several long minutes, Porker reprograms the device to discharge all its stored energy into the air, making it harmless. This will take time, however, but time is not what they have. Sonic notices that Mobius is starting to get faint. The Miracle Planet is about to fade away, and Sonic doesn't want to get stuck here again for another month. Sonic states he'll return next month to make sure everything went okay, and the 4 heroes start to walk down the chain back to Mobius. A short walk along the chain and Porker turns around and notices something very horrifying. It's the Emperor! Heavily damaged and losing power quickly, the Emperor has survived the explosion, but is now completely detached from his throne, which is his life support. The Emperor has dragged himself over to the Alpha device and reactivated it. The Emperor's final words are that the Brotherhood of Metallix cannot be defeated. It is our destiny to rule, before he collapses and powers down, this time seemingly for good. Porker realizes he has no choice but to run back to the Miracle Planet to stop the Alpha device. Amy notices Porker running back and shouts at him to come back. The Miracle Planet has nearly faded away. But Porker has to try. He's the only one who can stop the Alpha device. Sonic finally notices something going on, but in the brief moment Amy explained the situation, the Miracle Planet disappears. It's too late now. The Miracle Planet is gone, along with Porker Lewis. Amy hopes Porker isn't in any danger. She states that the Emperor did seem to finally collapse. Sonic worries though that perhaps they haven't seen the last of the Brotherhood of Metallix, but they won't know for sure until the Miracle Planet returns in 1 month's time. 2 weeks later, in Citadel Robotnik we find the glorious leader throwing fruit at a picture of Sonic. His ultimate Metal Sonic plans failed, the Emerald Hill folks still in hiding, and Sonic and the Freedom Fighters proving to be a continued headache. Indeed, it is a frustrating time for Robotnik. Still, Robotnik claims that he'll get Sonic one day. Grimer then arrives, apologising for interrupting his master's high-power think session, but states that that day could be sooner than you think.
What do you mean, Grimer?
Grimer is referring to Project Brutus. It is almost complete. It just needs one vital ingredient only Robotnik can provide.
Excellent, Grimer. Take me to him.
Down in the laboratory, behold, Brutus, the ultimate trooper.
Good work, Grimer. Quickly, bring me the brain scanner.
Using the brain scanner, Robotnik transfers his mind into Brutus.
Live, Brutus, live!
Brutus is now alive. Robotnik immediately appoints Brutus as his second in command, now titled as Commander Brutus. Commander Brutus, the ultimate trooper. Brutus's armour had been fully upgraded and was now constructed of the near-invincible and incredibly rare Mobian metal Megatau, similar to that of Shortfuse the Cybernik. In fact, due to the rarity of this metal, this was Robotnik's second only machine made by it so far. Brutus's armour was coloured gold. He wore a helmet resembling a crown to indicate superiority over the other troopers. For flair, he wore a red-crimson cape. With Robotnik's personality and a computer brain, Brutus is confident he is fit to exterminate Sonic the Hedgehog. Robotnik laughs ecstatically. For the first time in months, Robotnik was happy. At last, some of the strain and responsibilities can be given to Brutus while he focuses on other things. At this same point in time, the Freedom Fighters arrive in the Pleasant Zone disguised as Bob Beakey's travelling circus. Sonic states that the zone looks pretty safe, guess there's no need for their disguises today, and asks Johonny to park the caravan. Sonic's going for a run so he can stretch his legs. The residents of the Pleasant Zone are thrilled to see the blue hero here. However, not every resident of this zone admires Sonic. Sonic is spotted by one of Robotnik's spies. The spy reports back to Citadel Robotnik with news of this sighting of Sonic. But before Receptionik can inform Robotnik, Commander Brutus, who was nearby and had heard the transmission, instructs Receptionik not to bother Robotnik with this information, and insists that he will deal with this problem personally. Receptionik, terrified by Brutus's presence, can only agree to this request. It's not long before a fearful ship darkens the skies of the Pleasant Zone. The residents make a run for it. Looks like trouble, claims Johonny. Sonic is pleased though, he could do with the workout. The ship contains Commander Brutus and an army of troopers. They demand the Hedgehog. Sonic immediately presents himself, shouting, "Who's asking for me?" Brutus departs the ship in an epic entrance, stating that I am. My name is Brutus, commander of the elite troop force of Mobius, second in command to the mighty Dr. Robotnik. Amy worries that this looks bad. She wished Tails and Porker were here to help them, but Tails is still busy in his home in the Nameless Zone, and Porker is of course trapped on the Miracle Planet. Brutus orders the troopers to attack. The Freedom Fighters hold their own against the troopers until Sonic goes up against Brutus. We've braved worse battles before, claims Sonic, but you've never faced me before, Spikeball, replies Brutus. Sonic mocks Brutus to throw his best shot Buckethead while charging towards him. Brutus then easily counters Sonic's attack with the flick of the wrist. A dazed Sonic hits the ground. He sure is stronger than the other troopers, Sonic states. Brutus replies that that's correct. He is unbeatable. Sonic scoffs that no robot is unbeatable, but before Sonic can even finish his barter, Brutus orders the troopers to fire. Just in the nick of time, Sonic had grabbed Amy and Johonny, and using his super speed, gets them all out of the firing line in time. The three quickly hide behind a small cottage to plan their next move. Johonny wonders just who is this Brutus guy. Sonic has never met him before, but he sounds a bit like Robotnik. Amy questions if it actually is Robotnik, but Sonic squashes these claims, stating that old Lardbelly could never fit in armour that size. Sonic deduces that he must be programmed to think like Robotnik, making him one very dangerous dude. Back with Brutus, the troopers confirm they have lost to the outlaws. Brutus brands them utterly useless. Brutus is no mere trooper, and he will find them. Brutus activates an infrared scan, another of his many abilities. He picks up Sonic's heat trail and tells the troopers to follow him. Meanwhile, in Citadel Robotnik, Robotnik calls the receptionist and asks for Brutus to be summoned to his office at once. However, the receptionist reveals that Brutus is already on a mission.
What? I gave him no orders.
Robotnik then runs out to Receptionist, demanding to know where he is. Receptionist reveals that Brutus has gone to the Pleasant Zone as they had a tip-off that Sonic was there. Brutus decided to deal with it. Robotnik is furious.
I should be the first to know if Sonic has been sighted. Put me in contact with Brutus now!
Back in the Pleasant Zone, and Brutus has found Sonic and the others. No sweat, Sonic was getting bored hiding anyway. The Freedom Fighters face off against Brutus's troopers again. Sonic once again confronts Brutus. Brutus reminds Sonic that he'll find he's not so easy to destroy like the other troopers. Sonic remembers all too well their last encounter, so Sonic avoids attacking Brutus directly. Instead, Sonic runs around Brutus at super speed and grabs the Ultimate Trooper's cloak, sending him spinning into a building which crashes on top of him. It looks to be over. A worried trooper calls out for the commander. But from the rubble, Brutus emerges, completely unharmed. This was looking bad for Sonic. Brutus was far stronger than any of his previous opponents, even stronger than Metallix and Knuckles. Then suddenly, during the battle, Brutus receives a transmission from Robotnik, demanding a report. A trooper comments that Brutus had better respond, it sounds urgent, but Brutus refuses to respond. Things are starting to look even worse for Sonic and the Freedom Fighters, as Brutus's troopers surround them. A trooper then captures Amy, holding her hostage. Brutus then forces Sonic to surrender in fear of Amy's safety. Brutus is about to kill Sonic until he receives a second transmission from Robotnik, this time at such a high frequency that it shakes his circuits. Now forced to respond, he informs the Doctor that he has captured Sonic and the Outlaws and that he is about to execute them. Robotnik is very impressed, however he wants them alive, for now, and orders Brutus to bring them back to Citadel Robotnik at once. Brutus informs Sonic that he has won a slight reprieve. Robotnik wants you alive. Sonic replies that he knew Robotnik had a soft spot for him, but Brutus tells Sonic to hold his tongue and orders the troopers to put them all in chains. Sonic, Amy and Johonny are now all chained by the wrists and ankles, and all three are linked together, making escape impossible. Brutus has achieved what Robotnik never could. Brutus has defeated Sonic the Hedgehog. A sad day on Planet Mobius. Sonic, Amy and Johonny have been captured and chained together by the Ultimate Trooper, Commander Brutus. In the final act of humiliation, Brutus parades the defeated Freedom Fighters through the streets of the Pleasant Zone. Brutus has done this to show the Mobians that if Sonic cannot defeat him, what chance do they have? The citizens start to lose hope for their future, although Sonic says not to write him off just yet. Brutus responds that Sonic's words are brave, but don't waste your breath, even you know when you're beat. Sonic gives Brutus a smirk response, calling him Fangface. The angered Brutus raises his hand ready to beat some respect into Sonic until Robotnik suddenly contacts Brutus again. Robotnik is starting to get impatient.
Where are the prisoners? I told you to bring them to me!
Brutus replies that he thought he'd make an example of them first and parade them in chains through the streets to glorify their defeat.
I expect an order to be obeyed. Bring them to Citadel Robotnik now! Over and out!
Brutus claims that Robotnik is simply jealous of his victory. A trooper tells Brutus to do as Robotnik says. He gets very nasty if you upset him. Brutus strikes the trooper, stating he's not the only one who gets nasty when upset. Brutus very clearly states to the trooper that no one is to do a thing unless he says so. Understand? The knockdown trooper nervously responds with "Yes, Commander." During this confusion, the striked trooper had dropped his gun. Sonic whispers at Amy to grab it. She grabs it and shoots Brutus with it, knocking him off his feet. The three of them, still shackled together, try to run for it. The troopers do not pursue. Instead, they offer to help their commander up from the floor. Brutus is furious and asks them why are they not going after them. That's because Brutus didn't tell them to, remembering back to his previous statement that no one is to do a thing unless he says so. This infuriates Brutus even further. Finally, he orders the troopers to capture the outlaws. The troopers squabble among themselves.
Doesn't he mean recapture? Shh! Don't make him even more angry!
The three freedom fighters have not gotten very far due to being shackled together. Amy tries to blast their chains with the gun she took, but they are followed so close by that they have no time. They try again to make a run for it. Johonny states that they can't outrun them like this for much longer. Sonic tells them to run for the bridge, maybe they can get the advantage on the other side. They run over the bridge and the troopers accidentally destroy it, making it impossible for the troopers to continue their pursuit. This is what Sonic had hoped for. Brutus finally catches up. Sonic states that there's no way now for Brutus to get to them. You've lost, Brutus. Brutus, however, informs the outlaw not to speak too soon. Remember, I'm no ordinary trooper. In surprise to everyone, Brutus suddenly begins to take flight. While flying upwards, Brutus informs Sonic that before he was programmed with superior brain power, he was serving in the SBS, the Special Badniks Service. As you know, Sonic, the SBS are troopers with special abilities, and fortunately, I was fitted with an anti-gravity unit. In short, Brutus can fly. Brutus now flies over the gorge and is directly above the freedom fighters. There is nowhere to escape for Sonic anymore now. They try to make a run for it one last time, but are knocked to the floor when Sonic trips over a rock. Brutus has had enough of this charade. Unlike Robotnik, who wants Sonic captured to gloat for his own massive ego, Brutus can see just how much of a threat Sonic is, and just how problematic it will be in the future if Sonic escapes. Sonic is too much of a nuisance. Brutus is going to ignore Robotnik's command and kill Sonic right here, right now. Sonic is grounded and helpless. It can't end like this. He can't die here. Sonic refuses to let it end like this. Just then, Sonic's spikes begin to glow and point upwards. Yellow lightning begins to erupt in the area. Suddenly, a massive explosion engulfs Sonic. Brutus is blinded by the light.
What?
From the smoke and dust emerges Super Sonic. In a transformation of rage, Sonic has transformed into the uncontrollable Super Sonic. Super Sonic effortlessly snaps the chains and charges full force at the flying Brutus. Brutus comments that Sonic has lost his cool, and that could prove to be his biggest mistake. The real battle starts now. Brutus versus Super Sonic. Commander Brutus has pushed Sonic too far, and the heroic hedgehog has transformed into the berserk Super Sonic and is ready for a showdown. Johonny doesn't think Brutus stands a chance now, but Amy is worried that Super Sonic's mindless rage will cost him. Brutus himself is confident he can still win. Super Sonic charges towards Brutus. Brutus gloats at Super Sonic to "come on then if you think you're tough enough." As Super Sonic nears the ultimate trooper, Brutus punches Super Sonic right in the jaw, knocking the hyperactive hedgehog back somewhat. This enrages Super Sonic even more, and he charges once again towards Brutus. Super Sonic is so fast that this time Brutus does not have the chance to react. Super Sonic crashes into Brutus with colossal force. The impact forces Brutus to the ground with such power that he smashes through several trees, destroying them as if they was nothing. Brutus is shocked. "Impossible! He has the power to damage my armor now!" Brutus flies up to the sky once again from the crater he has left in the ground following the impact. "I will not be beaten by a hyperactive yellow hedgehog," he claims, and flies towards Amy and Johonny. In an attempt to make Supersonic back off, Brutus grabs Amy, taking her hostage. Johonny tries to help, but he is shoved to the floor by Brutus, who calls Johonny a toothache. Brutus states that Sonic won't attack him while he has Amy captive, but in Sonic's super form, Sonic can be a danger to friends and foes alike. Supersonic has no intention of stopping his charge. Supersonic once again smashes into Brutus, almost killing Amy in the process. Brutus has realised his mistake, but it's too late. Supersonic is right in his face. Brutus tries to defend himself, but Supersonic rips his arm to the elbow right off. Supersonic flies to the sky at super speed. Brutus states that does it. No more Mr. Nice Guy. Now missing an arm, Brutus flies towards his troopers, daring Supersonic to follow him. Brutus orders all of the troopers to fire, but it's no good. Supersonic is too fast and dodges every blaster with ease. Supersonic then smashes through the troopers as if they were nothing. Brutus runs back to his ship. He isn't defeated yet. He orders the last remaining troopers to get the foam cannon operational now. Supersonic follows Brutus to his ship. With the foam cannon now operational, Brutus fires at Supersonic with a direct hit. The doom phone thickens in seconds. Supersonic is trapped. Brutus has won. He orders the troopers to bring the prisoner inside to depart for Citadel Robotnik immediately. Brutus's victory is short-lived, however. The hard-as-rock doom phone cannot contain the yellow demon, and Supersonic breaks free. The resulting explosive escape destroying the final remaining 2 troopers. With the last of his troopers destroyed, Brutus realises that retreat is now the best option. Brutus states that the Hedgehog is tougher than he first thought. Heavily damaged, he will return to the Metropolis Zone and plan a new strategy to defeat him. His energy exhausted, Supersonic transforms back into his more familiar form. As always, Sonic cannot remember anything that happened while he was Super. But it's clear he took care of quite a few troopers. Sonic meets up again with Johonny and Amy, who are glad Brutus is gone. Sonic has a feeling, however, that they'll see him again someday. He'll be back. In Citadel Robotnik, hours later, Robotnik is angry why Brutus hasn't arrived at his office yet. He ordered him there 20 minutes ago. Finally, Brutus arrives. Brutus apologises for his lateness. His bodywork repairs took longer than expected. Robotnik berates him for disobeying orders and failing his first mission.
Your first mission has failed, Brutus. I told you to bring Sonic to me when you captured him, and you disobeyed.
Brutus points out that since he is programmed with Robotnik's own brain patterns, Robotnik would have acted exactly the same way in the same circumstances.
Bah! Remember, you are just a robot, Brutus. Now get out and work on a new plan of attack.
Brutus leaves Robotnik's office, but secretly he continues the scheme. He has been programmed with both Robotnik's personality and his ambition. One day, he plans to take control and rule Planet Mobius for himself. 1 week later, and we find a familiar sight on Mobius. Troopers herd a chain of Mobian prisoners to move. They will soon have the honour of working as Badniks for the great Dr Robotnik. One of the female prisoners comments that this wasn't quite the career she had in mind. One of the troopers hears this remark and demands the prisoner be silent. You need some attitude adjustment. These troopers aren't messing around. The leader of this squadron of troopers has already killed 3 of the slaves, as seen by 3 Mobian heads crossed out on the barrel of his gun. As the trooper is about to strike the female prisoner, they are attacked. It must be Sonic and his outlaws, a trooper claims. Wrong. It's Shortfuse the Cyberneck. Shortfuse destroys them all with little effort, even when one of them self-destructs, intending to take Shortfuse with it. The female prisoner, a green canary, asks why the troopers called Cybernik a traitor. He explains his backstory, that he was once Shorty the Squirrel until turned into Robotnik's ultimate Badnik, but that he retained his free will and now fights Robotnik's evil plans. He reveals that he is connected to the circuitry of his armour and hence trapped as the Cybernik for the rest of his life. The prisoner says she is an engineer and offers to help him. Shortfuse already knows who she is, even that her name is Tekno, and this is why he freed her. He needs her help, not to get out of the armour, but to build a bomb to destroy Robotnik's factory in the chemical plant zone. Meanwhile, at Citadel Robotnik, Robotnik himself is furious that the Cybernik has interfered with his plans again.
Grimer, you're telling me that the Cybernik has interfered with my plans again?
Robotnik has become tired of Shortfuse's constant interference. It's time he was dealt with permanently. Robotnik ponders who is up for this job. Brutus is unfortunately on a mission at the moment, but Grimer has the perfect candidate in mind. Grimer suggests the shapeshifter Metamorphia. Robotnik agrees.
Of course, she's perfect for the task.
Metamorphia is extremely happy with this opportunity she has been given, and highly values Robotnik's praise. She promises to destroy the Cybernik utterly. After freeing the other prisoners, Tekno the Canary leads Shortfuse the Cybernik to her secret underground workshop. She explains that she was once one of Robotnik's top engineers until he found out she was stealing materials for her own purposes. That's why she was going to be turned into a Badnik. She agrees to build a bomb for Shortfuse, and at the same time she'll make some improvements to his armour. After all, the special material it's made of is Megatau, a metal she in fact helped create. She reveals that producing the metal itself is easy enough for someone as smart as her. It's the components themselves to create Megatau that are incredibly scarce on Mobius. Luckily, she has a small supply of it in her lab. 3 days later, and a sighting of Shortfuse has been spotted. The information quickly gets to Robotnik. A trooper reveals that Shortfuse has been spotted in the chemical plant zone.
Ha! No doubt they are planning a surprise visit. Metamorphia, mission cyberkill is go!
Shortfuse, in shiny armour with new gloves, boots and shoulder pads, along with Tekno, enter the chemical plant zone. Shortfuse destroys the defending Badniks, while Tekno sets the bomb and timer. Detonation in 5 minutes. However, before they can escape, they are attacked by Metamorphia in the form of a great armoured warrior. Tekno says to settle the fight quickly, because in just over 4 minutes, the entire plant is going to explode. Meanwhile, earlier on this same day, high in the sky of Planet Mobius, we find Knuckles the Echidna, who has completed a hard day's work in the floating island's Emerald Chamber. Knuckles wants a rest, but is prevented from doing so when the alarm system activates. There's a fluctuation in the island's force field, which could mean an intruder. Using a zoom tube, he travels in moments to the zone where the signal was detected, Megapolis City, once the capital of the Echidna civilization on the island, and now just a crumbling ruin. Knuckles finds a robot searching the rubble and calls out to ask what it is doing. The robot immediately opens fire. Knuckles attacks it directly to little effort. Knuckles can't help but feel the robot looks somewhat familiar to him. Knuckles then slams his fist into the ground, opening up a crevice for the robot to fall into. Knuckles wonders what the robot was searching for, but the answer soon presents itself. An old white-furred echidna with a gold medallion appears from the rubble. Knuckles is shocked by this. It can't be, but it's true. He says that he's one of the lost race of echidnas, and he is the first of Knuckles' people to return to the floating island. His name is Dr. Zachary. With the robot seemingly dealt with, Knuckles takes Dr. Zachary on a tour of the island, including the Emerald Chamber. Zachary is shocked by what he sees. So the legends are true, the Chaos Emeralds really exist. It's unbelievable, all that power contained in 7 ancient crystals. It's their energy that keeps the floating island in the sky. Without them, the whole place would come crashing down on the surface of Mobius, explains Knuckles. Knuckles is burning with questions for Zachary to answer. When do the other Echidnas plan to return? Why was Knuckles left to guard the floating island? Zachary promises to answer them all, but first he is wary and needs to rest. He says he has been hiding from the robot for many days. Knuckles assures Zachary not to worry anymore, he dealt with the robot. Zachary is not so sure though. Zachary replies that the robot is virtually indestructible and is able to track him somehow. At that very moment, the robot climbs out of the chasm Knuckles earlier trapped it in. That night, Knuckles finds it impossible to sleep. He is sure that he recognized the design of the robot he had defeated earlier in the day. He checks through the island's ancient scrolls and finds that the robot was indeed one of the Guardian robots built by the people of the floating island. Just as he rushes to tell Zachary what he found, the robot itself smashes through the wall and attacks him. Zachary heard the noise and goes to investigate, but is horrified to see the robot. Knuckles shouts at Zachary to run, but the old Echidna is frozen in fear. With a powerful blow, the robot strikes Knuckles, knocking him out for several moments. When Knuckles comes to, Zachary helps him to his feet. He says that the robot turned away from him at the last second. He went down there, the Emerald Chamber. They get there just in time to see the robot pull the Master Emerald from its position. What's it doing to it? Suddenly, the robot shatters the Master Emerald to pieces, destroying it indefinitely. Meanwhile, back down on Mobius, Shortfuse and Tekno have successfully planted a bomb in the chemical plant zone. Everything was looking great until Metamorphia appeared before they could escape. Metamorphia is one of Robotnik's most loyal minions. After failing him 3 times before, she is determined to right her wrongs this time. Failure is not an option for her. Shortfuse attacks Metamorphia, but to no avail. She turns into gas to avoid him, then attacks with hands shaped into axes, only to have them shatter against his indestructible armour. Shortfuse then blasts her into the polluted water. Tekno reminds Shortfuse that the bomb is about to blow. Metamorphia then reappears a moment later as a colossal sea monster. Shortfuse and Tekno escape her tentacles, but she turns into a humanoid again and blasts Shortfuse, capturing Tekno and flying away on metal wings. She leaves Shortfuse lying next to the bomb as it explodes, taking the chemical plant factory along with it. Shortfuse's armour remains intact, but he is pinned down by debris and twisted metal. He is dragged underwater and blacks out. With Tekno as her prisoner, Metamorphia heads back to the Metropolis Zone. The pursuer of Dr. Zachary, a deadly robot, has completely destroyed the Master Emerald. Now it plans to absorb the power of the other Chaos Emeralds. Knuckles leaps to stop it, but the robot hits him with a direct hit with a powerful blast of chaos energy from its eye beam. A horrified Zachary runs over, calling out Knuckles' name several times. It's no good. No one can withstand a direct hit from the robot. He must be dead. And good riddance, he says. He thought they'd never get that pest off their backs. With Knuckles gone, Zachary reveals his true colours. He has been working with the robot all along. His plan had worked perfectly. Knuckles was so happy to find one of his own people that he never suspected Zachary might be evil, and led the old Echidna straight to the Chaos Emeralds. Unlimited power has been transferred into the robot. Zachary plans to seek out every one of Knuckles' lost people and take his revenge. But first, he'll destroy the people of Mobius and let the floating island crash onto the planet below as a monument of his genius. Climbing into a cockpit within the robot's head using a gold medallion as a key to open it. Zachary bursts out of the Emerald Chamber and flies away. Knuckles, however, is still very much alive and heard everything. Knuckles is furious at being used. He climbs out of the rubble. The real fight starts now. Hovering over Mobius, Zachary looks down. He plans to swoop down on the Mobians like an avenging angel of death while laughing maniacally. Using a zoom tube, Knuckles catches Zachary before he can fly clear of the island. Knuckles breaks one of the robot's arm wings, preventing Zachary from safely escaping. Zachary has underestimated Knuckles' strength, but not his intelligence. Now he'll make sure that Knuckles dies. However, the floating island's orbit has taken them straight into a mountain range. In a few moments it will crash, and then it'll be all over for the both of them. Dr. Zachary has revealed his true evil nature. Now he faces Knuckles for the final battle. His robotic armour fully charged with all the power of the Chaos Emeralds. Suddenly, a new danger threatens to destroy the floating island. The floating island is on a collision course with a mountain range, and without the Master Emerald there's no way of keeping the island in the air or avoiding them. Elsewhere on the floating island, the Emerald Hill folk continue to work on their new dwellings, blissfully unaware of the disaster to come. This is it! Brace yourself for impact! The floating island crashes into the mountaintop. Earthquakes rack the island. In the Mushroom Hill Zone, some of the homes of the Emerald Hill folk are toppled and destroyed. Fortunately, the island is not immediately destroyed. It comes to a brief rest, balancing on top of the mountain, until the power of the remaining Chaos Emeralds is exhausted, at which point it will fall. Zachary is furious that Knuckles has prevented him from flying away safely, thus condemning him to death, and attacks the young Echidna. Knuckles has had just about enough of Zachary. He's really starting to get on his nerves. Knuckles takes a sharp stone and hurls it with great force, separating the robot's head from the body. Without his advantage anymore, Zachary begs for mercy. He is an old Echidna, he whines, and his heart couldn't take it if Knuckles hit him. However, before Knuckles can do anything, another shockwave hits them, and the floor under Zachary gives way. Zachary and the immobilized body of the robot fall off the edge of the island, vanishing beneath the clouds. Zachary screams as he falls, presumably to his death. Knuckles knows that he could escape the island, gliding away before it crashes, but it is his home. He refuses to leave, and instead decides to prepare for death. Just then, he notices the head of the Guardian robot, which still crackles with green emerald energy. Struck by inspiration, he drags the giant head back to the Emerald Chamber, and to his joy, finds that it works just as well as the old Master Emerald did. The floating island once again rises off the mountaintop into the air. Knuckles has saved the floating island, along with the Emerald Hill folk. Knuckles blames himself for what happened. He was so excited to meet one of his lost people that he did not consider that Zachary could be evil. When his people do return, he will still be waiting, but next time he plans on asking a few more questions. Meanwhile, hundreds of miles away, Metamorphia has captured Tekno the Canary and brought her before Robotnik himself in his citadel. Metamorphia explains of how she captured Tekno and how Shortfuse was destroyed with his own bomb. This immediately gets Robotnik's attention.
What bomb?
Metamorphia is forced to admit that the bomb destroyed Robotnik's factory in the chemical plant zone. Robotnik is now beyond furious. Meanwhile, in the chemical plant zone, trapped under twisted debris at the bottom of the sea, Shortfuse is still alive, but his oxygen supply is running out. He manages to get free by using his jet boosts. Shortfuse blames himself for Tekno being captured. He's got to rescue her. Robotnik will think he's dead. Hope he likes surprises. Shortfuse then heads to Citadel Robotnik. In Grimer's lab in the Citadel, Metamorphia pleads with her beloved Robotnik. She thought he'd be happy that she destroyed Shortfuse.
And you let my factory be blown up! Do you know the cost of repairs? You have failed me too often. I withdraw your shape-shifting powers.
Metamorphia screams as her powers are taken away.
You will serve me better as a Badnik. Grimer, Take her away to be processed.
Just then, a trooper arrives to say that Citadel Robotnik is under attack.
What? Who would dare?
Shortfuse has arrived for a showdown. Shortfuse is attacking Citadel Robotnik in order to free his friend Tekno.
Curse him! Metamorphia told me he was dead. If only Brutus was here.
Shortfuse smashes into Robotnik's office, quickly destroying all the trooper defenders. Now only Shortfuse and Robotnik are left. Robotnik accepts his fate. He will never beg for mercy, nor is he scared of death. He shouts at the Cybernik to pull the trigger. However, they are interrupted by Metamorphia, who has Tekno as a hostage. Robotnik gloats at this change of direction.
You wouldn't dare shoot me and risk Tekno's life now, would you, Cybernik?
However, when Metamorphia foolishly reveals that she no longer has her shape-shifting powers, Tekno floors her with a judo throw. There's no one to protect Robotnik now. Again, Robotnik challenges Shortfuse to shoot him.
Stop divering, Cybernik, and shoot!
But Shortfuse refuses, explaining that Robotnik will suffer more knowing that he created Shortfuse, and thus ultimately responsible for every defeat that Shortfuse hands him. At the top of his voice, Robotnik orders them to get out. Shortfuse and Tekno leave, and Metamorphia comments that she could have gone after them if she still had her powers. But Robotnik isn't listening. Shortfuse and Tekno return to Tekno's underground workshop. Tekno offers to let Shortfuse use the workshop as his secret base too, but he declines. He'll be more of a threat to Robotnik if he stays on the move, but he promises he'll be back. And Tekno waves her friend goodbye. The next day in Citadel Robotnik, and the damage caused by Shortfuse has been cleared and repaired. With Brutus now back at the Citadel, any intruder would be foolish to try again what Shortfuse did. Still, it has been a very stressful time for the dictator this last month, and the mystery of the Emerald Hill folk continues to elude him. Robotnik was becoming consumed by their secret whereabouts. Robotnik had eyes over the entire planet. How has he not found them yet? Grimer reassures his master not to worry. They will find them one day, and with the ultimate trooper at their side, they will make them all pay. And then Sonic and his miserable band of outlaws will be next. Then, Robotnik gets some very interesting news come his way. A Badnik patrol has found the body of an old white Echidna, Dr. Zachary. Somehow, Dr. Zachary has survived the fall from the floating island. However, he is barely clinging onto life. Laying in a comatose state, Zachary has been horribly injured by the fall. Broken bones and a completely shattered right arm. His face is almost unrecognisable. Robotnik is very intrigued by this discovery. Robotnik thought Knuckles was the last of the Echidnas. He orders the troopers who discovered Zachary to bring him to the medical bay in Citadel Robotnik immediately. It doesn't take long for Zachary to be brought to the Citadel. Zachary is immediately put on life support. Zachary's injuries are horrific. For him to survive, he is going to need cybernetic enhancements. Robotnik greenlights the procedure. This was too good of an opportunity to pass up.
Who knows what information this old Echidna has? I cannot ignore this opportunity put before me.
Zachary was still completely comatose. Robotnik hopes that after he has been repaired, he will wake once again. Being so heavily damaged, however, these operations and upgrades will take time. The Never Lake, one of the greatest beauty spots on Planet Mobius. Before Dr. Robotnik came along, that is. Sonic is at Never Lake to witness the return of the Miracle Planet. It has been exactly 1 month since the Miracle Planet was last in orbit over Mobius, and the Brotherhood of Metallix was defeated. But more importantly, Porker Lewis was left trapped there. Sonic is here to welcome back his old friend. Someone is walking along the chain. Sonic keeps his guard up, but not to worry, that someone is Porker. Sonic happily reunites with his old friend. Everyone has been worried about him. The Metallixes were all destroyed, but Porker has been trapped for a whole month all alone. But Porker insists that he is unhurt. But his words are stilted, and his manner oddly impassive. The Miracle Planet isn't the only thing entering Mobius from another dimension today. Back down at Neverlake, the Omni Viewer transports the Chaotix crew all the way from the Special Zone, although the landing is a little hard. Unfortunately for them though, they are immediately spotted by a trooper patrol and attacked by two tank-like experimental units of the Special Badnik Service, the SBS. These SBS units proved to be quite a match for Chaotix, but they are eventually destroyed thanks to Chaotix's excellent coordinated teamwork. The two standard model troopers try to flee, but they are quickly destroyed by Sonic when he arrives on the scene with Porker in tow. Sonic introduces himself. It's a great honour for Vector to meet Sonic. Vector mentions that the Omni Viewer has spoken highly of the Hedgehog. Sonic and the Omni Viewer go back a long way after all. So what brings Chaotix here? Vector explains that they suspect the Miracle Planet is being used by the Brotherhood of Metallix to further one of their sinister schemes. But Sonic tells them to relax, he took care of the Metallixes permanently. Vector asks what Omni thinks. Omni detects an energy screen on the Miracle Planet's surface. Give him a second and he'll see if he can tune it out. Tuning it out, it is revealed that the usual green and blue appearance of the Miracle Planet was just an illusion. In fact, it has been completely cyberformed and now resembles a vast Metallix head. Espio sums it up perfectly. This looks bad. On the floating island, Knuckles is trekking through the desert to get to the Kohenu graveyard, the only place Knuckles has never visited on the floating island before. The only reason Knuckles is visiting the graveyard is to get a new emerald from the Emerald Mine to hold the power of the Master Emerald, which is currently being held in a robot's head after the original was destroyed. Meanwhile, back down on Mobius, the Miracle Planet has been transformed into a massive Metallix head. Sonic turns to his friend Porker. "You were on the Miracle Planet for a month. Didn't you notice any of this?" But Porker claims not to have known anything about this. In any case, it is clear that the Emperor Metallix was not destroyed like originally thought, and he's had a whole month to build new Metallixes. Sonic jumps into action and starts running up the chain. He tells Chaotix to not just stand there, they've got to stop the Brotherhood of Metallix before it's too late. Mighty tells Sonic to keep your spikes on, little guy. With Porker not far behind, they all start making their way along the chain. At the Metropolis Zone in Citadel Robotnik, Dr Robotnik is working on new plans of attack with Commander Brutus while still hunting the Emerald Hill folk. Robotnik is completely unaware of the Brotherhood of Metallix's return. Back at Neverlake, halfway along the chain, Vector powers down the Omni Viewer. After their last encounter with the Metallixes, they don't want them getting their hands on Omni again, but Vector states it's best to keep on standby just in case they need him. Mighty suggests that they really should have a plan before rushing to the Miracle Planet, but Sonic responds that plans are for wimps. Sonic suggests that Porker doesn't have to come with him, he did just spend a month here after all, but Sonic then notices that Porker has a scratch. It's nothing, Porker explains, just a slight injury caused when Sonic smashed those troopers. But Sonic wants a look. On closer inspection, Sonic notices that underneath the skin is all wires and metal. He's not Porker Lewis at all, he's a Metallix. A Porker Metallix. The Brotherhood of Metallix have sent him to destroy them all. The Metallix is more than a match for Sonic and the Chaotix crew combined, shrugging off their most powerful blows and sneaky maneuvers. Though this Metallix model is not as fast as the usual Sonic model, it does have increased strength, and given the circumstances of the area they are fighting on, the Metallix clearly has the advantage. However, just as Metallix is powering its death ray to finish them all, Sonic hits him with a spin attack, overloading the blaster. Moments before the Metallix is about to explode, Vector and Mighty use the power in their link rings to knock it clear of the chain. The Metallix then blows up at a safe distance. The plan worked, but Mighty states that it took all of them to destroy just one Metallix, and they're about to face a planet full of them. Sonic replies that if you're scared you can always go back, making Espio respond with, "You know, I think I liked Knuckles better." "Knuckles? Nice kid. I taught him everything he knows," replies Sonic. They all soon arrive on the machine-ridden Miracle Planet. Sonic warns them to be ready for anything. The planet itself is oddly quiet, but they soon find the real Porker Lewis tied up. Porker looks very much worse for wear. He warns Sonic that they are running out of time. They'll be back soon and then it will be too late. Suddenly, the Emperor Metallix and his brothers emerge through their pirated Omni-Viewer, stating that it is already too late. Sonic vows to defeat him just like last time. But the Emperor scoffs at this bravado. The Emperor states that they have already won. Sonic responds with, "How do you figure that?" The Emperor explains that they have travelled back in time using their Omni-Viewer and changed history. Really? So what have you changed? With a gesture, the Emperor points to the planet in the sky above them, which has been converted entirely to ghastly machines and pits of flames. The whole of Mobius now belongs to the Brotherhood of Metallix. The Brotherhood of Metallix have succeeded in completing their master plan. They have travelled back into Mobius's past and changed history. Mobius is no more. The planet has been cyberformed into Planet Metallix. Sonic calls them monsters for what they have done. Vector initiates Code D, the escape plan. He powers up the Omni-Viewer. It's time they weren't here. Sonic wants to stay and fight, however, but Vector tells Sonic it's suicide if he stays and fights them right here. Vector eventually gets through to Sonic and they all leap into the Omni-Viewer and escape. Metallix asks the Emperor if he should pursue the targets, but the Emperor says that will not be necessary. The flesh creatures have nowhere left to run. Moments later on Planet Mobius, now Planet Metallix, Sonic wants to find some survivors, but when he sees the sheer industrial horror of what the Metallixes have created, it seems as though there might not be any survivors. Impossible! It can't be! Everyone is gone! Knuckles, the floating island, Amy, Tails, the Emerald Hill folk, all gone. Life under Robotnik's regime was bad enough, but this is on a whole nother level of horror. Sonic and Chaotix are then spotted by a group of Metallixes. One of the Metallix in this group is the Mark II model that Sonic fought in the Sky Sanctuary Zone, and another is a new model with a triangular blaster on its chest. This one appears to have a position of authority. Sonic is so shocked and angry by what's happened to his beloved planet that he wants to stay and fight them all. But again, Vector talks some sense into the Blue Hedgehog and they run away, as they are all clearly outnumbered. Charmy accidentally leads them all into a dead end. Espio calls Charmy an idiot. Looks like Sonic's going to get that fight after all. Mighty and Espio take a bet on who can take out the most Metallixes before they go down. Before they can fight, however, a cowled figure appears out of a sewer and guides them all under the streets. Given the circumstances, they have no choice but follow the hooded figure. Underground, another cowled figure named Rob takes the hero's image with a camera, despite Sonic's objections. "Hey, no photos, I'm not looking my best." The Metallixes enter the sewer system where they quickly find the fugitives in a small room. "Remain still and your final moments will be less painful," a Metallix demands. However, as they all gather to apprehend the targets, they notice some odd equipment on the ceiling crackling with energy. Before the Metallix can evacuate, there is a huge explosion and they are all destroyed. Further down the tunnels, the cowled figure explains that Rob's camera made a hologram of the 6 heroes. They set it up so that the Metallixes would all stop in one place and be caught by the bomb. The figure says that they are members of the Underground, the last living people on Mobius. The leader of this underground movement appears to know Sonic too. It appears they have met before. In fact, he thought Sonic was dead. But just who is he? Sonic is very curious and asks who the figure is. the figure removes his cowl and introduces himself as Dr. Ovi Kintobor, Sonic's old friend, the man who turned into Dr. Robotnik. The Brotherhood of Metallix have travelled back in time and changed history. Now they rule Planet Mobius, renamed Planet Metallix. The very few remainders of the rightful population are forced to hide beneath the planet's surface. And you thought life under Robotnik was bad. The leader of this small band of survivors is none other than Kintobor. Except Kintobor shouldn't even exist. He should have been changed into the brutal dictator Dr. Robotnik. Sonic asks his old friend if he's ever heard of the name of Dr. Robotnik, but Kintobor replies with no. He'd remember a name as stupid as that. But Sonic explains that Robotnik is you, Kintobor, or at least that's who you were supposed to change into before the Metallixes altered history. Kintobor asks why Sonic hasn't been affected by this changing of the past. Vector reckons that it was because they were on the Miracle Planet when the Metallixes changed history. They were somehow isolated from the effect. Sonic doesn't care about any of this technical stuff. All he knows is that Mobius has been altered back in the past somewhere, and they've got to do something to fix it. Vector has an idea, and asks the Omniviewer to boot up. Fortunately, the Omniviewer has the ability to track anybody who travels in time, since it leaves a chronotron trail in the timelines. Vector's plan is to track this trail to where it ends, and find out exactly what the Brotherhood of Metallix have changed. For the Omniviewer, it's as simple as following a piece of string. Sonic is all for this plan. It's time for them to go into the past and stop the Brotherhood of Metallix. Before they go, Kintobor gives Sonic a prototype anti-Metallix device. Does it work? Kintobor responds that he's not sure. No one has been close enough to find out. Sonic says goodbye to his old friend. It's a shame their reunion was not under better circumstances. They all step into the Omniviewer's energy field and then hurtle back into the past. However, they are suddenly and unexpectedly ejected from the energy field. There are 3 Metallix waiting and guarding the timelines. Foolish creatures of flesh, did you truly believe the Brotherhood of Metallix would leave the timelines unguarded? One of the Metallix states. Sonic and Chaotix now engage in battle against the Metallix. Vector strategizes a plan of attack, but Sonic can't wait around for Vector all day and starts an attack on a Metallix on his own, while Chaotix deal with the other 2. While the Metallix states that resistance is futile, Sonic slaps Kintobor's anti-Metallix device on his head. Metallix suddenly begins to malfunction, identifying the other Metallixes as new enemies, and destroys one of them with its death ray. While the Metallix continues to malfunction, the other remaining Metallix tries to restrain his malfunctioning brother. As Sonic and Chaotix prepare to leave, Sonic notices something in the hand of the destroyed Metallix. It's a rotten egg, and Sonic gets the feeling it should mean something to him. Sonic takes it with him. They continue to travel back in time, though the Omniviewer is disgusted by the stench of the rotten egg that Sonic brought. They finally arrive at the end of where the time trail ends. This is the point where the Brotherhood of Metallix were. Sonic and Chaotix hear voices down the corridor from where they have arrived. They decide to keep out of sight. When they find the origin of the voices, one of them belongs to a younger Kintobor. Charmy doesn't recognise the other weirdo though, a brown and spiky hedgehog. Sonic does though. Sonic responds that weirdo Charmy is me. Sonic wasn't always blue. In the days before Dr. Robotnik, he looked like this. That's about to change. Having travelled back in time to save Mobius from the Brotherhood of Metallix, Sonic, Porker and Chaotix have arrived at the secret underground lab of Dr. Ovi Kintobor, just in time to witness the explosion of the kinetic gyroscope transforming a brown spiky hedgehog, Sonic's past self, into the cool blue and streamlined hero he was destined to be. Sonic is watching his own origin happen before him. Sonic wonders how the Metallixes changed history, and what the significance of the rotten egg that he took from one of them is. Sonic then realises the awful truth. Sonic now knows how the Metallixes changed history, and knows how to put things back. Sonic goes to the lab's refrigerator, which is exactly where he remembers it. It is completely empty, so Sonic replaces the rotten egg on the shelf. The Chaotix crew are confused. How is this going to help? So you're trying to tell me we've travelled back to the past just so you can put a rotten egg in Dr. Kintobor's fridge? Asks Mighty. That's about it, Mighty, replies Sonic. Sonic asks the Omni viewer to take them forward in time to see the results of what Sonic has done. They arrive back in Kintobor's lab and take cover once again. They all hide until the past versions of Sonic and Kintobor try to find some food, and they find only the rotten egg. As Kintobor walks off with the rotten egg, the future version of Sonic, who's making absolutely sure, yanks up the cables under Kintobor's feet, tripping him and sending him flying into the retro-orbital Chaos Compressor, which explodes. The Metallix has travelled into the past and removed that egg from Kintobor's fridge. To put things back to how they were, they had to replace it. But what's so special about that egg? It was that rotten egg which combined with the explosion to turn Dr. Ovi Kintobor into Dr. Ivo Robotnik, which means that the person responsible for creating the most vicious dictator on Mobius is Sonic himself. Sonic feels terrible. He states that this is the worst day of his life, but Porker insists that Sonic had no choice but to do this. Somehow, Robotnik is the key to destroying the Brotherhood of Metallix. With the past now corrected, it's time for Sonic to head home. The Omni viewer hurtles down the timelines to the present. Just to play it safe though, Omni wants to take a look at Mobius from a safe distance, just in case. Sonic's plan had worked. There are now no traces of the Metallixes anywhere on the planet, but it still looks like they're in control of the Miracle Planet. Sonic knows there's only one more destination they have to head to next. At Citadel Robotnik, which is once again the heart of Dr. Robotnik's evil empire on Planet Mobius, inside the Citadel we find a furious Robotnik.
I don't want excuses. Find that hedgehog or you'll pay dearly.
Robotnik wants to know where Sonic has gone, only for Sonic himself to appear in his office by means of the Omni viewer. Sonic has some unfinished business with Robotnik, and Sonic's really mad. Even Charmy states that Sonic's really cross this time. The brutal dictator and the blue hero go face to face, now. Sonic and friends have returned from a time-travelling mission to the past, having learned that the key to defeating the Brotherhood of Metallix is none other than Dr. Robotnik. Sonic and co have travelled to Citadel Robotnik to tell Robotnik the ordeal they have all gone through, with the Metallix taking over Mobius to Kintobor not turning into the vicious dictator. Sonic wants to find out what Robotnik knows, which is so important that the Metallixes erased him from history. Robotnik, however, claims this whole story is ridiculous.
That is the most ridiculous story I have ever heard.
Sonic is starting to lose his patience even more so. He tries again to get through to Robotnik. You must know something they're afraid of. Porker wonders how the Metallixes were able to exist in a world in which Robotnik never existed, since he built them in the first place. Grimer then steps in. He thinks he might be able to explain that. The thing is, you see, it was Grimer who created the Metallix Badniks. They are his design.
Helped by my genius, Grimer, you snivelling clod.
Indeed, Robotnik designed the self-destruct program. Once Sonic hears this, he immediately snaps. Sonic is now furious. Sonic now knows that Robotnik deceived him. Robotnik sent Sonic after the Metallixes a month ago. He risked his life when Robotnik could have destroyed them by a remote control. Robotnik confirms this.
Yes, that's right, Hedgehog. It was a golden opportunity. I had hoped they would destroy you and then I could activate the self-destruct program.
Sonic's had enough. He grabs Robotnik's collar and goes to punch him. The dictator tries to push him off. Charmy B, who isn't paying attention in the slightest, notices storm clouds gathering outside the window. Looks like we're in for quite a storm, yes sirree, Bob, he states. Porker realises that the Metallixes could not remove the program, so they try to make it never exist in the first place. Sonic, still with his hand around Robotnik's collar, starts to cool down after hearing Porker's analysis. He tells Robotnik that this would be a real good time to run the self-destruct program before the Metallixes can do any more harm.
Yes, I suppose you're right.
Still at the window, scatterbrained Charmy continues to talk about storm clouds. Just look at the size of that cloud, we're in for a real downpour. Finally, someone takes notice to Charmy. Mighty asks him, what are you drivelling on about? Charmy tells them all to look at the storm cloud. To shut the bee up, Sonic and Chaotix go look out the window. Espio states that doesn't look like any cloud he's seen before. What's more, the cloud appears to be heading directly towards them. Sonic finally sees the seriousness of this situation. That's no cloud at all heading towards them. Blotting out the sun, Metallixes, thousands of them. It is the entire Brotherhood of Metallix, led by the Emperor himself, heading straight for them. The Metallixes smash into Citadel Robotnik through the walls. With the Metallix timeline destroyed, resulting in their control over Mobius taken from them, the Brotherhood of Metallix plan to eradicate their one and only weakness, destroying anyone who gets in their way. A huge battle erupts within the Citadel. Sonic and Chaotix try to hold off the Metallix, but this is a losing battle. There are thousands of them. It is impossible to defeat them all conventionally. Porker hides behind Robotnik's desk, saying he can't take any more of this. Robotnik frantically searches for the self-destruct remote. He finds it, but is too slow to activate it. The Emperor grabs Robotnik and hoists him up in the air, removing the device from his hand. Too slow, you fat fool, the Emperor tells him.
No, I am your master!
To think, this small device could destroy the entire Brotherhood of Metallix. The Emperor plans to first crush the device, then Robotnik's neck. This is it. Sonic's got to step in or it's all over. He's got to be fast, but fast is what Sonic does best. As the casing cracks, Sonic speeds through, snatching the remote and pressing the button, deactivating all the Metallixes at once. The Emperor shouts that he cannot be stopped now, but it's too late, as he crashes to the ground, shutting down this time permanently. Robotnik, who was in the Emperor's hand, falls to the ground, taking a slight bump. Sonic asks Robotnik if that's it. We've won? A dazed Robotnik assures Sonic that they've won.
You activated the self-destruct sequence! Of course you've won! What did you expect?
Sonic confesses to feeling that it is slightly anticlimactic. Vector, however, tells Sonic not to knock it. They're all still alive. Barely, as Mighty helps Espio off the floor. Sonic tries to explain to Robotnik that this was close. Real close. The Brotherhood of Metallix nearly destroyed all life on Mobius, including yourself. But then Sonic realises he's wasting his time trying to get through to Robotnik. He rounds up with Chaotix and Porker and at last heads home via the Omni viewer. In perhaps the first time in his life, Robotnik actually agrees with Sonic.
Sonic's right. The Brotherhood of Metallix nearly killed us all.
But Grimer, however, believes the idea is still a good one. They just need a new design. A Badnik based on Sonic proved to be too unstable. Grimer presents his new blueprints for Robotnik's inspection. A Knuckles Metallix. 1 week later. With the Brotherhood of Metallix now a fading memory, life went back to normal on Planet Mobius. Well, as normal as it possibly can, living under Robotnik's rule. On the floating island, Knuckles has succeeded in acquiring a new emerald for the Emerald Chamber. It has taken him days to cut the raw gem into shape. After once again dealing with the robot head's emerald blasts, as it activated itself again, even without a body, Knuckles was able to successfully transfer the emerald energy within the robot's head to the new emerald, creating a brand new Master Emerald. Meanwhile, down on Mobius, we find a group of Mobians running for their lives. Commander Brutus leads a raid on the River City Zone to capture its residents. Although they capture a large number of citizens, Brutus orders that they are split into 2 groups. A trooper questions this order, and Brutus, whose right arm has now been turned into a powerful blaster, completely obliterates the trooper. "Never question my orders." Brutus asks the other troopers if they have any further questions, of which they all reply with nope. They prefer to obey orders. Most of the prisoners are sent in a shuttle to a destination of Brutus's choosing, while the others remain with him. These remaining prisoners will come to the Metropolis Zone with Brutus to be processed, much to the delight of the Mobians. Later, in Citadel Robotnik, Robotnik himself is very pleased at Brutus's success, although he expected Brutus to have captured more. After all, Brutus has a copy of Robotnik's brainwaves. Brutus replies that he's still new to this. Next time he'll capture more, he promises.
Making you my second in command was an act of sheer brilliance. You now have the power to crush all who stand in your way.
Yes, Doctor, Brutus says with a pointed look at his master, and I intend to do just that. A few hours later, Brutus arrives in Grimer's laboratory to pick up some devices that he wanted Grimer to create. Portable brain scanners. Now, when he captures one of the freedom fighters, he will be able to absorb a copy of their brainwaves and learn all their secrets.
Secrets?
Grimer asks. Where does Sonic hide? Where are the Emerald Hill folk? These devices will help him to find out. Grimer is impressed and commends this as a fiendish plan worthy of even Dr. Robotnik. Must I always live in the shadow of Robotnik? Brutus mutters to himself. Grimer turns back to his desk, only for Brutus to hit him with a stun blast, knocking Grimer out cold. While Grimer is unconscious, Brutus uses the new brain scanners to absorb a copy of Grimer's brainwaves. Now Brutus can build his own army of Badniks. Badniks that are only loyal to him. With his computer brain, along with Robotnik's brain patterns, and now Grimer's, Brutus is now by far the most intelligent creature on the entire planet. The ultimate trooper, Commander Brutus, has successfully used his new portable brain scanners to copy Grimer's brainwaves, allowing him to now be able to build his own Badniks. When the unconscious Grimer wakes up, Brutus claims he simply fainted from stress of the job. Brutus tells Grimer to sit and rest, as he now has business to attend to. Grimer wishes him good luck and hopes the mind scanners work. Grimer is completely oblivious to what Brutus has done. Shortly, in a troop ship, Brutus and a cohort of troopers fly to a secret location Brutus disclosed to them. They arrive in the Misery Zone, once home to a race of evil monsters, but now it is devoid of all life. Brutus has now in fact set up a secret base right here in the Misery Zone for himself. He built it in and out of missions for Robotnik, and this is where the prisoners he has been collecting are being held. Brutus goes and checks in on his, quote, guests. The Mobian prisoners have no idea why they are being kept here. One of them asks Brutus, does Robotnik know about? Before being cut off by Brutus telling him to be silent. I did not capture you for Robotnik, I captured you for my own plans. The Mobians cheer with joy. They believe they're not going to be turned into Badniks. Hooray for Commander Brutus, one of them cheers. However, their joy is short-lived. Brutus informs them that they are going to be his Badniks, not Robotnik's. With all the equipment and setup required in his new secret base, Brutus begins processing the prisoners, turning them into his Badniks. Meanwhile, back in Grimer's lab, Robotnik is frantically searching for Brutus, asking Grimer if he's seen him. Grimer confirms he has, and tells Robotnik that he'd business to attend to with the portable brain scanners.
What? Why would Brutus want a portable brain scanner?
You mean you didn't know about it? Oh dear.
A few hours later, back in the Misery Zone, Brutus is informed that one of Sonic's allies has been spotted in the Cotton Factory Zone. Excellent. Capture him and use the mind scanners to find out Sonic's secrets. Are the Badniks ready yet? Brutus asks. The trooper replies with yes. I present your personal army. It's time to go hunting. The Cotton Factory Zone, where Johonny Lightfoot is investigating reports of slave labour. One of the residents tells Johonny that Robotnik uses their wool to make himself egg cozies and socks, and pays them nothing. The Mobian asks Johonny if he can get Sonic to help, but Johonny is confident he can sort this problem out, hoping for a chance to have an adventure of his own. He gets much more than he bargained for, however, when a vast legion of Badniks appear in the sky. The troop ship releasing them demands his surrender. Completely outnumbered, Johonny is attacked by an army of Badniks created by Commander Brutus. The Rabbit Freedom Fighter puts up a brave fight, but it's clear he is vastly outnumbered. High above the action, Brutus observes the battle from his ship. The Rabbit fights well, but he'll soon be tired. He cannot defeat an army of Badniks, Brutus states. Johonny can't keep this up for much longer, but suddenly he gets an idea. He has come to free the local citizens from Robotnik's factory, so perhaps he can use the Badniks to his advantage. Johonny starts to run towards the factory, with the Badniks in hot pursuit. Brutus starts to sing his own version of Run Rabbit Run, while watching the Freedom Fighter dash towards the factory. A trooper comments that he didn't know Brutus could sing. Brutus responds that it's obviously a human trait he picked up from Robotnik. Johonny leads the Badniks through the factory. The Badniks' inaccurate blasts destroy the buildings which explode, taking the new Badniks with them. The locals are free. Johonny has won, and all without Sonic. Not bad, eh? Unfortunately for Johonny, however, his troubles are far from over. Brutus grabs Johonny by surprise. Johonny is now face to face with the most powerful villain on the planet. Johonny remembers all too well how easily Brutus defeated Sonic last time. Johonny is smart enough to know fighting Brutus like this is suicide. Brutus forces his portable mind scanners on Johonny and absorbs a copy of his brainwaves. It is done. Brutus now shares the same knowledge as Johonny Lightfoot. Brutus confirms this by telling the rabbit he knows all his secrets. Brutus now knows that Johonny, Sonic and the other freedom fighters disguise themselves as Bob Beakey's travelling circus. Johonny mocks Brutus, stating big deal, and offers him a free ticket to a show. Brutus questions this mockery, informing Johonny that his fight is over. Remember, Rabbit, I now know where the Emerald Hill folk have been hiding this past year, states Brutus. Storm clouds have gathered over the area and thunderous lightning bolts shoot around Brutus as Johonny falls to the ground, defeated. Brutus orders the troopers to gather his forces. They leave to attack the floating island immediately. Target, Mushroom Valley, and nothing, not even Knuckles, will be able to stop him. The orders have been given. Brutus prepares an invasion force on the floating island. Johonny wants to know how Brutus figured it out, seeing as he never told him. While striking a totally radical pose, Brutus explains that he used his portable mind scanners to absorb a copy of the rabbit's brain pattern. Brutus now knows secrets even Robotnik isn't aware of, which makes him the most powerful individual on the planet. Meanwhile, at Citadel Robotnik, the other most powerful individual on the planet is far from happy. Dr. Robotnik is now convinced that Brutus is up to something.
Brutus is up to something, I can sense it.
Feeling very confident in himself, Brutus explains his diabolical plan to Johonny. Brutus plans to turn on Robotnik, but tells Lightfoot not to get his hopes up. Brutus doesn't plan on being a hero. He will attack the floating island first, wipe out the Emerald Hill folk. People will fear him. They will lose respect for Robotnik, and Brutus will be the new ruler of Mobius. Johonny gets the feeling that won't be a good thing for any of us. His crew ready, Brutus sets a course for the floating island. However, just as Brutus is about to brief his troopers about their next move, he is suddenly overcome with the emotion that this is all wrong. A trooper asks the commander if he's okay. What is it? With a taunt at the bucket-headed creeps, Brutus destroys them with his arm blaster and immediately wonders why he did that. The troopers state that the commander has gone mad and they attempt to relieve him of duty, but Brutus blasts the rest of them too. What is he doing? It must be the effect of the mind scanner. When Brutus absorbed Johonny's memories, he also absorbed the freedom fighter's personality. Brutus immediately runs back to his trooper ship. He wipes out all traces of Johonny's thoughts, then crushes the mind scanner in his hand. It's too dangerous to use again. Brutus departs the ship. However, Johonny is in hiding, and Brutus assumes the outlaw has fled. No matter, there will be other battles, he states. Unfortunately for Brutus, however, all of his troopers are destroyed, by his own hand nonetheless, and he no longer remembers where the Emerald Hill folk are hiding, as well as all the other freedom fighter secrets. Plan defeated, Brutus leaves the zone and returns to his hidden base in the Misery Zone. Brutus has now fully cut ties with Robotnik. He will not be returning to the Metropolis Zone, not yet at least. All further communication between himself and Robotnik is over. Brutus has now gone rogue. It is time to make new plans, Brutus states. He will build new Badniks, increase his secret army, dominate Mobius, and Robotnik will become nothing but a memory. A week later, and Johonny is reunited with the other freedom fighters. In a circus wagon on the edge of the Metropolis Zone, Sonic is hit with some very upsetting news. Porker Lewis has resigned from the Freedom Fighters and returns his trademark black jacket. What are you talking about, Lewis? We're battling against Robotnik for the survival of Planet Mobius. This isn't some sort of game, Sonic replies. Being held captive by the Brotherhood of Metallix for a month was too much for Porker, and he has had a nervous breakdown. Sonic doesn't know how to react. He is shocked and doesn't want Porker to leave, but his first response is to become angry, calling Porker soft. The other freedom fighters quickly come to Porker's defense and try to comfort him, but he breaks down in tears. Sonic storms out of the trailer. He heads out to find the Chaotix crew. At least he can rely on them. However, the Chaotix crew are also leaving. They just got word that Nack the Weasel has escaped from prison in the Special Zone. The Omni viewer instantly transports them to the floating island, as one of the inmates said Nack had a map of the Sandopolis Zone. Chaotix leaves and they don't even consider asking Sonic for help. Suddenly, Sonic is struck in the head by a patrol of troopers. He is concussed and unable to escape. Amy and Johonny are also caught when they rush out to see what the problem is. The trooper demands they put down their weapons or he'll put a bullet right between Sonic's eyes. Amy and Johonny both surrender. Sonic tries to fight back, but he is so concussed his vision is blurred. Sonic gets hit again. Porker has to act quickly. He takes some wires from a light fitting and applies them to a puddle of water outside, electrocuting and disabling the troopers who are all standing in it. Sonic is very impressed and tells Porker so. The next morning, Sonic bids farewell to Porker, who is going to live with the Emerald Hill folk in the Mushroom Hill Zone. Sonic attempts to apologise for what he said before, but Porker tells Sonic to forget it. Besides, he is soft, and Sonic wouldn't have it any other way. Sonic waves his good friend goodbye as the tornado flies off in the distance. Almost a week later, midnight in the Metropolis Zone. At the heart of Robotnik's evil empire, Sonic, Amy and Johonny are planning a little sabotage on Robotnik. Amy does question whether it's wise for them to be so close to the heart of Robotnik's empire, but Sonic reassures her that now is the perfect time to do this. Word on the streets is that Commander Brutus has gone AWOL, and Robotnik can't cope with the reduced manpower, so it's too good of an opportunity to pass up. Suddenly, they are spotted by a Badnik patrol. Sonic seems confident until he is caught unexpectedly from behind by a trooper, who smacks him right on the head. The dazed Sonic, along with Johonny, are then captured. Only Amy manages to escape. The troopers ignore her, stating that they still have 2 captives that Dr. Robotnik will be very pleased with. Nearby, in Citadel Robotnik, an extremely stressed Robotnik continues to air his frustration over the disappearance of Brutus.
Bah! Still no word from Brutus! Have you no idea where he is, Grimer?
Grimer replies with no. However, Grimer informs his master that perhaps they don't need Brutus to achieve the victory you've always dreamed of. Look! For Robotnik, it is finally a joy to behold. Sonic the Hedgehog is now Robotnik's prisoner.
You're losing your touch, fools! Allowing yourselves to be captured so easily.
Johonny points out that maybe that was their plan all along, fathead. Just then, the intruder alarm goes off in the info center. Sonic tells Robotnik it was nice chatting to him, but now they're out of here. Johonny suggests to maybe offer them tea and biscuits next time. Robotnik orders the troopers to stop them, but Sonic easily destroys them. Sonic's plan had worked perfectly so far. Allow himself and Johonny to be captured to create a diversion while Amy breaks into the info center. Meanwhile, Amy herself has just accessed valuable information from Robotnik's new weapons plans in the info center. All she's got to do is delete the entire files, which will cause the big guy one major setback. However, just as Amy is about to press delete, she is apprehended by a trooper. Robotnik is informed of Amy's capture.
Ha! Looks like your plan failed, Spikeball.
No one said it was going to be easy, Conehead, replies Sonic. Sonic and Johonny try to escape Robotnik's office, but Robotnik activates his security protocol, and lethal lasers stop the freedom fighters from escaping. No biggie for Sonic, he'll just make his escape a more traditional way. Sonic and Johonny now make their escape through the ventilation system. Johonny worries though, what if Robotnik follows them? Someone his size? Fat chance, replies Sonic. Meanwhile, back in the info center, a captive Amy tries to reach for her crossbow, but the trooper holding her makes it difficult. Amy finally reaches it and fires, but she misses the troopers. The trooper gloats that she missed. That's because she wasn't aiming for them. She was aiming at the delete button on the computer. A direct hit, wiping all the data that was on it. The computer then explodes. Sonic and Johonny emerge from the vents, destroying the troopers. Job done. It's time they weren't here. As the info center goes up in flames, the 3 heroes escape the Citadel. The damage they have caused to the Citadel can be seen from a mile away. The sabotage to Robotnik's mainframe, however, is much more of a headache for the dictator. Their plan had worked, but now Robotnik will be even more determined to destroy them, but at least they gave him one major headache. Inside the Citadel, Robotnik is livid.
This is unacceptable! Someone has got to pay!
Robotnik demands that security be tightened around the Citadel. This cannot happen again. The Miracle Planet has rematerialized over Mobius. It has been 1 month since the Brotherhood of Metallix was defeated. The Miracle Planet, however, still bears the scars of the Metallix. Sonic, Amy and Johonny are on the deserted Miracle Planet's surface with a portable version of the Kintobor computer. They intend to reprogram the Alpha device, the technology that cyberformed the Miracle Planet in the first place, to make it reverse the process and turn it back to its original green landscape. However, when they find it, they learn that the Alpha device has now grown to the size of a small tall building, and Johonny has to climb up the side in order to find a connection for the feedback cable. Sonic is bored, when suddenly he spots a shadow among the machinery. Dashing between giant machines and climbing over cables, he finds the source of the shadow. A rust-coloured Metallx. The Metallx is shocked to see Sonic and tries to make a run for it. Sonic isn't about to let a Metallix escape, it must be the last one left from the Brotherhood. Sonic comes to blows with the Metallix, but the Metallix repeatedly tries to tell Sonic that it doesn't want to fight, it's just trying to defend itself. At last, the truth is revealed. The Metallix takes his head off, revealing that he isn't a Metallix at all, but a green Mobian bird. The Mobian explains that he was captured by the Brotherhood of Metallix for experimentation. He escaped his cell but couldn't get off the planet, so designed himself as a Metallix from parts he stole from their assembly line. This is the first time the Miracle Planet has reappeared over Mobius since the Metallixes left. And he was heading back to the chain when he saw figures in the distance. He thought the Metallixes had returned, so ran for his disguise. The four head back to the chain and down to Mobius. It'll take a month before the Alpha device will put everything back to normal. Then finally, the Miracle Planet can return to its former glory. 2 weeks later, and it's a rainy day on the floating island. Porker Lewis has now settled into his new life in the Mushroom Hill Zone. Knuckles has paid him a visit, with hopes that he can help him with something. Knuckles has come asking for help in rebuilding the Emerald Chamber. To Knuckles' dismay, however, the ancient technology he has brought with him is beyond Porker's understanding. Turns out, the robot head had caused more damage to the Emerald Chamber than Knuckles had first thought. Knuckles is concerned that unless he can fix the force field in particular, the Emerald Hill folk might be in danger if Robotnik ever came looking for them, despite Porker's comment that Robotnik doesn't even know where they are. It's still certainly a serious situation. The floating island is currently defenceless. It's a relief that Brutus forgot the information of where the Emerald Hill folk are hiding. As Knuckles and Porker walk outside, a young child runs up to tell them that a ship has landed on the island to the east of the village. Knuckles assumes it is Robotnik and runs to check it out. Porker stays behind, his adventuring days are over. However, when Knuckles gets there, it's not Robotnik at all. Knuckles finds Captain Plunder. A few days later, and Dr. Robotnik has finally had some good news. Though the location of the Emerald Hill folk continues to elude him, he has managed to capture the final 4 remaining residents of the Emerald Hill folk who were still on Mobius. The unfortunate Mobians have been sent to the Metropolis Zone's high security prison. This is the place Robotnik keeps his political prisoners before they are turned into Badniks. Luckily for the imprisoned Emerald Hill folk, Sonic has caught wind of this, and he's not going to let the vicious ruler have his way with them. He saved the previous Emerald Hill folk from being processed before when he busted them out of prison, and he'll do it again, he says. As nighttime falls, the prisoners are spotted outside their cells by a trooper. "How did you get out your cells?" the trooper shouts at them. Nearby, a familiar figure awaits. Ready to strike, it's Sonic. Sonic destroys the trooper guards and leads the 4 Emerald Hill folk to the outer wall. The Mobians are grateful to be rescued, of course, but how does Sonic expect them to get over the prison wall? One of them asks. You think Sonic hasn't thought of that? Tails then arrives on the scene. Tails is going to carry each of them over the wall in no time at all. At last, every one of the Emerald Hill folk have been saved. Meanwhile, in the monitor room in Citadel Robotnik, Robotnik fumes that not a single one of his millions of spy cameras have located Sonic or the missing Emerald Hill folk.
Where is that stinking hedgehog? I have millions of spy cameras on Mobius. One of them must have picked up a sighting of him. And where are those ungrateful Emerald Hill folk? One day I'll find them, then...
Grimer then arrives.
Grimer! Wait there, you snivelling fool. I'll be right down.
Robotnik is so angry that Grimer has failed to find Sonic, as Robotnik ordered him to do so, that Robotnik strangles Grimer to make him work better. When Grimer then chokes out that they have found Sonic, Robotnik's attitude changes immediately, but he continues to strangle Grimer for several more seconds before dropping him, and heading to the hangar of his latest invention, a giant spider-shaped war machine. Robotnik has been briefed on Sonic's breakout of the Emerald Hill folk prisoners. He's not going to let his minions foul this for him like last time. Robotnik is going to deal with this personally. Meanwhile, Sonic, Tails and the captives have reached the edge of the Metropolis Zone, where Sonic earlier parked his circus caravan. They set up a star post, the last one in existence after Robotnik destroyed the others, to transport the captives to the floating island, where the other Emerald Hill folk are waiting. Sonic activates it with his super speed, but before they can jump through the energy field, Robotnik shows up in his massive spider machine, causing massive destruction and calling Sonic out to a fight. Robotnik turns his machine to the left.
There you are, Sonic! You can't hide from me, you snivelling wretch!
Robotnik has spotted them. Sonic shouts at Tails to get the Emerald Hill folk out of sight and stay back. Robotnik is mine. Tails quickly conceals the Emerald Hill folk and the caravan, hoping that Robotnik didn't notice, otherwise he'll discover that Sonic travels around Mobius in disguise as Bob Beakey's travelling circus. Sonic is confident in his ability to destroy the tin can, he calls it, until his attacks do no damage and he is caught in the machine's front legs.
Overconfident blue buffoon! Now you will pay for all the humiliations, all the times you ruined my plans!
Sonic demands to know how Robotnik found them. Robotnik agrees to tell him, since in moments he will be destroyed, he states. From a distance, Tails watches in horror. He's got to do something to save Sonic, but he's too late. Sonic is smashed against a wall with such force that he must surely be dead. Robotnik has done it. He has finally killed Sonic the Hedgehog. Knuckles has been dragged into an adventure he didn't even want to be in. Captain Plunder has promised Knuckles that he has a chest full of ancient plans of the floating island, and he'll happily give them to the Echidna Guardian. They'll be just the thing he needs to help him repair the technical systems on the floating island. All Knuckles needs to do is help the pirate find the flying ghost ship of Tantaragor. Can Knuckles really trust this pirate? Plunder reassures him that his words are truthful. Plunder mentions that it was from this chest that he got the map to the lost pyramid of Sandopolis, which Plunder exposed just before the Death Egg's launch. Slightly hesitant, due to Plunder's track record, Knuckles goes along with Plunder's request. However, what Knuckles wasn't bargaining for was being dragged into the conflict between Plunder and the powerful monsters known as the Tantaragor. In a turn of events, Knuckles goes back and forth between the Tantaragor ship to rescue the slaves the Tantaragor have captured, to finally ending up in Pirate Town in Scourge Bay, the home of all pirates on Mobius. After many arguments and fights with the deceiving Plunder and the Tantaragor being dealt with, Knuckles is finally awarded the trunk containing the floating island's documents by the pirate queen Zorabelle. Knuckles leaves the pirate town with the chest, however he now has a serious problem. He is trapped on Mobius with no way to get back to the floating island. It can't be helped. There is nothing more he can do here. Knuckles will have to venture across Mobius until he can find the means of getting back home. If only he had a way of contacting Chaotix. Knuckles just hopes that Porker and the Emerald Hill folk will be alright without him for the time being. Meanwhile, back in the Metropolis Zone, Robotnik laughs at the presumed death of Sonic. Tails flies over to the hole in the wall where Sonic was thrown into. He calls out to Sonic. It's no good. Nothing could have survived that. However, suddenly, an angry voice from the hole shouts at Tails to stand back, you fool. Super Sonic is back. The stress caused Sonic to transform into Super Sonic, and he survived Robotnik's attack. Super Sonic is now completely out of control and very dangerous. Super Sonic smashes through the thick hull of Robotnik's machine. Robotnik is completely unaware that Super Sonic is right behind him. Robotnik wonders where Super Sonic went until he realises the horrifying truth, as Super Sonic tells him to look behind you, walrus face.
Oh no!
Robotnik has no time to react as Supersonic punches him right out through the windscreen. Robotnik hits the ground hard as he bounces several times. Supersonic then explodes the entire machine with ease from inside. However, when the dust clears, Robotnik seems to have escaped. "Where did that fat fool go? Come out, Robotnik, I want to incinerate you!" shouts the demonic hedgehog. Robotnik is nowhere to be seen. However, Supersonic notices one of the captive Emerald Hill folk, the pig, who has wandered out of hiding, wondering what's going on. Since Robotnik seems to have escaped, Supersonic is going to kill the pig instead. Supersonic charges towards the helpless Mobian, who has a look of absolute horror in his face. Tails tries to get through to his friend. "Sonic, the Emerald Hill folk are our friends!" But it's no good. Supersonic dives into the terrified Mobian, smashing him into the ground, leaving nothing but a smoking crater. The other 3 Emerald Hill folk are shocked. Tails tries to explain that it's not Sonic's fault. He's totally out of control when he's super. Moments later, Sonic, who has now returned to his normal blue form, climbs out of the hole. He can't remember anything that happened to him while he was super, but Tails says that he killed one of the Emerald Hill folk. In a panic, Sonic demands to know which one. Tails informs him that it was the pig, but what difference does that make? Sonic then relaxes when he finds this out. "Sonic, you've killed an innocent bystander!" shouts Tails. However, Sonic explains that just before he turned super, Robotnik revealed that the pig was a Badnik and was carrying a homing device. Sonic must have remembered this even when he turned super. Either that or it was complete luck. Luckily, they destroyed the device before taking it to the floating island. If they had transported everyone to the floating island, Robotnik would have found out where the rest of the Emerald Hill folk are hiding. Sonic doesn't even like to think about what could have happened. Now that the mission is accomplished, they can send the 3 remaining captives through the Star Post to be reunited with their people at last. Finally, all the Emerald Hill folk from Mobius are now safely hidden on the floating island. Robotnik's infiltration scheme had almost worked, but now it is back to the drawing board for the dictator. His hatred and determination to find them growing day by day. 1 month later, in Citadel Robotnik, we find a familiar sight. Dr. Robotnik seethes with rage at Sonic's continued resistance to his rule.
"I want Sonic found! I have Planet Mobius completely under my control. How can that cursed hedgehog elude me? And what's worse, how can he have hidden the entire population of the Emerald Hill Zone?"
Suddenly, Grimer informs his master that they are receiving a call on Robotnik's own private video link number.
"Then put them through, you snivelling idiot!"
It turns out to be Sonic himself.
"How did you get this number?"
Sonic replies to the evil dictator that he knows he can't keep secrets from him. Robotnik wants to immediately know what Sonic wants. He is a busy dictator after all. "Well, you won't be for much longer. Your plans have come to nothing. Your Death Egg was destroyed, your Metallix project flopped, and even your own second-in-command has left you. Face it, Robotnik, your days are numbered." Sonic then hangs up. Robotnik dismisses Sonic's words, but soon learns of a disturbance in Sector Alpha 34. A protest has erupted at the site of Robotnik's new statue. A huge crowd has gathered at the base of the statue. Many are carrying signs bearing slogans like "Down with Robotnik" and "Robotnik must go." Some of the protesters are hurling bricks at the giant figure. One of the protesters has even scoured the statue and is smearing Robotnik's bald head with white paint. This was all new to Robotnik. He was used to Sonic and his band of freedom fighters resisting his rule, but not the regular folk of Mobius. Many people on Mobius have grown sick and tired of living under Robotnik's regime. It's been several years now since he took power. Not everyone has the courage to speak up, of course, out of fear of punishment, but still, small uprisings were starting to happen across the planet, and this was one of the largest ones yet. This is completely unacceptable to Robotnik. They've got to be stopped. Robotnik isn't going to hold back at these protesters at his new statue, so he orders the SBS to be sent in. The troopers soon arrive to disperse the protest. "Remove that citizen from our leader's nose," the leader of this squadron orders. An SBS trooper shoots at the protester and almost hits him. He loses his balance and falls off the statue. Luckily for him though, Tails is nearby to catch him. And where Tails is, you'll also find Sonic the Hedgehog. Sonic and Tails are going to have to deal with the SBS squadron quickly. They can't risk anyone getting hurt. Sonic then aggressively destroys the SBS troopers with little effort, making sure the battle is over quickly. One of the protesters then runs over to Sonic and Tails, telling everyone to take cover. He sets some explosives. The protester detonates the explosives around the statue's feet, causing the entire statue to topple over and smash on the ground. The protesters thank Sonic for what he's done. They would never have been able to take care of the SBS. "Hey, that's what I'm here for," replies Sonic. Robotnik's losing his hold over the people of Mobius. Sonic can feel it. Sonic then tells the protesters to head home. If he knows Robotnik, he's already sending another SBS squad here, so let's not push our luck. Back in Citadel Robotnik, Grimer happily tells Robotnik that the protest is over and that the statue will be replaced within a week. But Robotnik isn't comforted, he's furious.
The statue is irrelevant, Grimer. The point is my subjects dared to attack it. The statue was a symbol of my power.
Robotnik viciously chokes Grimer. The people no longer fear Robotnik, but he plans to change that. Soon, they will tremble at the very mention of the name Dr. Robotnik. He promises it. A few days later, in Metropolis City, things have gone from bad to worse for the citizens. Robotnik has implemented his harsh new regime following the protests at his statue last week. Troopers now kick down doors of innocent Mobian families and begin to arrest them. This particular family has the father arrested. The mother pleads with the troopers to stop. He hasn't done anything wrong, she says. But the trooper tells the upset woman that everyone is guilty of something, citizen. This horrendous act was happening across the entire city. Innocent families and their children were being torn apart. Robotnik didn't care if you were man, woman or child. The order was for any citizen. Everyone is guilty. The helpless Mobians he imprisoned were sent to one of the awful conditioned section houses, which are in the poorer parts of the town. The prisoners wait here, some being tortured by Robotnik's minions who controlled this district before being taken to the feared processing plants. The brooding figure of Dr. Robotnik watches over the city from Citadel Robotnik. If the people think he's gone soft, then he'll give them a reason to fear the very mention of his name. The residents had better get used to it. This new regime wasn't going to end anytime soon. Robotnik made sure that what was happening to the residents of the Metropolis Zone was televised on news all day, so that all Mobians across the planet would think twice about protesting or saying ill about their glorious leader. This tactic of fear was a perfect way to keep the residents of Mobius in check. Anyone found to be affiliated with Sonic the Hedgehog or his band of outlaws would suffer the most severe of punishments. Next, Robotnik increased the taxes across the planet, giving many of the people of Mobius barely enough money to buy food. Robotnik tried to justify this as payment for increased security for the residents of Mobius by increased trooper and Badnik production. Robotnik put out a 2 million money reward for the capture of Sonic the Hedgehog, dead or alive, and a 1 million money reward for Knuckles, also dead or alive. With times so tough for the people, Robotnik hoped that someone would be tempted by these rewards. Indeed, it is dark times for the people of Mobius. These are the darkest yet since Robotnik took power. 3 months later, we find Knuckles the Echidna rowing across the Mobian Channel. Knuckles is still attempting to return to the floating island with the chest full of ancient documents he obtained from Captain Plunder. However, Knuckles is having anything but an easy time trying to find a means to return home. This has been an exhausting quest for Knuckles, dragging this heavy chest around wherever he goes, and there doesn't appear to be any end in sight yet. It's just been himself and the chest for so long now that Knuckles even catches himself talking to the chest, and mentions that he has been spending too much time on his own. Knuckles has clearly become used to company since Robotnik discovered the floating island, since before then he lived his whole life alone. Elsewhere on the planet, Sonic has sent Tails to investigate rumours of a new Badnik in the aquatic ruin zone. Unfortunately, the Badnik, which calls itself a spider moth, manages to get the drop on him, spraying his Tails with sticky gunk from its web shooter. With his tails tied together, Tails can't fly, and he hits the ground with a great crash. The Badnik informs Tails that it was created by Commander Brutus, the soon-to-be ruler of Mobius. That's not good news at all for the Fox. Tails realises that Brutus is planning a revolution, and hopes Sonic and the others aren't in danger. No matter how hard Tails tries to fly, his tails won't propel. Using a vine, he tries to bend the palm tree back so that he can swat the Badnik out of the air, only to be hurled into the air himself. Still unable to fly, he shoots straight for the Badnik, smashing it, but can't stop himself from landing in the aquatic ruins' deep lake. And with his tails tied, he can't swim fast enough to escape the Masher Badnik that bears down on him. Twisting out of the way, he catches the webbing in the Masher's teeth, freeing his tails. Free at last, Tails is now able to fly. He immediately sets off for the Metropolis Zone to warn Sonic and the others about Brutus's revolution. They could all be in big trouble. It wasn't just the aquatic ruin zone that new Badniks were appearing. All across the planet, Brutus's new Badniks were popping up. It's clear that Brutus is about to make his move. Evening. On that same day, Dr. Robotnik has unleashed a Badnik attack on the citizens of the Metropolis Zone. Why would Robotnik do this? It's just a reminder to the citizens of who's in charge. The Badniks blast at the helpless Mobians on the street. One of them says it's time he moved to a safer zone, but another states that there are no safe areas on Mobius. Fortunately for them, Sonic, Amy and Johonny are here to help. There's never a dull moment in this zone, Amy comments. That's the way Sonic likes it though. He gets bored without a daily workout. Sonic and company then start defeating the Badniks. Johonny is certain they'll be able to handle this, but Amy informs the Rabbit Freedom Fighter not to get too confident. They are still outnumbered. Suddenly, however, the Badniks start getting destroyed by something that's not Sonic and the other Freedom Fighters. A new wave of Badniks have arrived, and they also seem intent on destroying Robotnik's Badniks. These Badniks look nothing like Robotnik's. They are much more imposing and powerful looking, and destroy Robotnik's Badniks with ease. Are they on our side, Amy wonders? Sonic doesn't think so. However, Johonny recognises this type of Badniks. He's seen it before. They've been created by Commander Brutus. Sonic's initial playful tone immediately changes to seriousness when he hears this. The new Badniks have now defeated all of Robotnik's Badniks, and now they're coming for Sonic, Amy and Johonny. Sonic's not going to wait around to be shot at. Let's get 'em, he shouts. The new Badniks may be stronger, quicker and have more deadly attacks, but they are still Badniks, and Sonic can still beat them. As Sonic defeats one of the Badniks, a great mothership darkens the area over the Freedom Fighters. This looks like big trouble. Sonic's expression says it all. The mothership lands and from it departs Commander Brutus himself. Brutus has finally returned to the Metropolis Zone. After months of planning, this is the day of revolution. The day Brutus conquers Mobius. And he refuses to be stopped by two hedgehogs and a skinny rabbit. The Freedom Fighters realise the severity of this situation. Sonic comments that old Eggbreath isn't going to be too happy about this. And sure enough, a mile away in Citadel Robotnik, Robotnik is furious. Watching everything transpire from one of his cameras, he calls Brutus a traitorous robot. Robotnik shouts at Grimer to prepare the troops. This means war. Back with Brutus, Sonic comments that if he thought life would be better if Brutus ruled Mobius, he'd help him defeat Robotnik. But Sonic gets the feeling it'll be 10 times worse if Brutus ruled Mobius. Only 10 times worse, the Ultimate Trooper responds. Brutus intends to increase pollution levels to kill all non-robotic life forms. Sonic's had enough and charges towards Brutus, but his spin attack bounces harmlessly off Brutus's armour and Sonic hits the ground. Brutus calls Sonic a fool and asks him has he forgotten that he can only damage him when he's supersonic? Sonic is so desperate to defeat Brutus and says that it would be worth turning into supersonic to beat him, despite the fact that supersonic is an uncontrollable berserker. Brutus isn't going to give Sonic the opportunity to transform, however. He informs Sonic that he has upgraded his blaster to now match Sonic's speed. Before Sonic has a chance to recover, Brutus hits him with his blaster, knocking him unconscious. The fight is finished. Amy and Johonny don't stand a chance against Brutus and they are both captured. They are now Brutus's prisoners. Brutus has defeated Sonic once again. Now no one can stop him. A few hours earlier, and Tails is on his way to the Metropolis Zone to assist Sonic. But as he passes through the Casino Night Zone, he notices several Mobians being chased by Commander Brutus's troopers. Brutus has given the order worldwide for all non-robotic lifeforms to be exterminated. Tails defeats the troopers, although one of the Mobians he rescued says he'd prefer to have been saved by Sonic. But I guess Tails will do. Tails agrees to help out defending the Casino Night Zone from Brutus's troopers, but he is spotted by Fleabite the bounty hunter. Tails had foiled Fleabite's plans not too long ago, and now the bounty hunter plots revenge on him. Fleabite catches Tails in a net. He believes that Brutus will give him a reward for Tails, but he is surprised when Brutus's troopers arrest him too, and he's then thrown in jail with Tails. The order is for all non-robotic lifeforms to be captured for execution, both good and bad. No exceptions. Tails and Fleabite talk in the cell. Fleabite reveals that he can pick locks with his robotic claw, but doesn't think to use it on the cell door until Tails points out that it would be a good idea. They escape and together they take down the troopers. As the troopers chase Fleabite, Tails pours syrup under their feet and sends them crashing into a giant pinball machine. No sooner are the pursuers defeated, Fleabite turns on Tails, trying to net him again. However, Tails won't be caught the same way twice and captures Fleabite in his own net. The people thank Tails for helping them and ask him to stay to protect them from any more of Brutus's trooper attacks. Tails was supposed to join Sonic in the battle against Brutus, but according to Sonic, the safety of the citizens comes first. Tails will guard this zone for the duration. Tails is sure Sonic can cope without him for a few days. If only Tails knew. Sonic needs all the help he can get at the moment. Back in present time, war rages in the skies above Citadel Robotnik. Commander Brutus orders his own Badniks to attack those created by his former master, Dr Robotnik. The sky is ablaze with fire, with explosions happening all over the city. Flying in the sky, Brutus leads the war, ordering all of Robotnik's Badniks to be destroyed. It's an incredibly dangerous place to be for the residents right now, as they try to run for cover from the continual falling debris around them. Meanwhile, a mile away from the battle site, Sonic is recovering from his encounter with Brutus. Sonic is angry and immediately wants a rematch with the Ultimate Trooper. Suddenly though, Sonic spots another Badnik approaching him. Not to worry though, this one isn't a foe, it's Shortfuse the Cybernik. Sonic is pleased to see a familiar face. Shortfuse had heard that Robotnik was having problems with another one of his creations. That guy sure knows how to make enemies. Yeah, but unlike Shortfuse, Brutus is no good guy. Sonic explains that Brutus has kidnapped Amy and Johonny. They've got to save them. Sonic and Shortfuse team up. They'll have a better chance of success as a team. Sonic leads on as Shortfuse is right behind him as they head straight for Brutus. Inside Citadel Robotnik, an extremely worried Grimer asks his master how he can be so calm. Their Badniks are losing.
Stop snivelling, Grimer. I have a way to deal with Brutus.
Suddenly, Brutus and his turncoat troopers burst into Robotnik's office. Your days as ruler of Mobius are over, Robotnik. This is a takeover, Brutus states.
You've been a naughty boy, Brutus. When I programmed you with a copy of my brain patterns, I half expected you to try something like this, so naturally I prepared for this moment.
From his pocket, Robotnik pulls out a small remote. It's a self-destruct device, similar to the one that defeated the Brotherhood of Metallix. This is why Robotnik is so calm. Robotnik is done with Brutus and presses the button. It will trigger a self-destruct implant in Brutus's brain.
Die, traitor!
But to Robotnik's despair, nothing happens. It doesn't work.
It worked against the Brotherhood of Metallix, but not against you!
Brutus had been observing the final battle against the Brotherhood of Metallix, and just how they was defeated. Brutus learnt about the self-destruct implant that was also present in himself. Brutus knew Robotnik would try something like this, and therefore Brutus had the implant deactivated weeks ago. Now Brutus orders his troopers to kill Robotnik. With nothing left to say, Robotnik accepts his fate. The ruler of Mobius never begs for mercy. Suddenly, Sonic and Shortfuse burst in through the window. Brutus orders his troopers to forget Robotnik for now, kill the outlaws instead. Sonic and Shortfuse then start to battle Brutus's troopers in Robotnik's office.
You just saved my life, Spikeball, but don't expect gratitude.
Sonic replies that his timing can be bad for once, Lardbelly. While Sonic deals with the troopers, Shortfuse faces off against Brutus. Shortfuse warns the Super Trooper that he may look tough, but Shortfuse's armour is made of Megatal, the strongest metal on Mobius. Well, I've got news for you, Cybernik, says Brutus. So is mine. And with a single blow, Brutus pummels Shortfuse through the floor. Even the ultimate Badnik, Shortfuse the Cybernik, is no match for Brutus's power. Sonic begins to charge towards Brutus once again before he can finish off Shortfuse. But Brutus immediately aims his blaster at Sonic. Remember, I can match your speed, Spikeball. Brutus demands Sonic not to try a super spin attack, or he'll never see his friends alive again. Sonic agrees but wants to see Amy and Johonny right now. Brutus complies. A trooper then informs Brutus that Robotnik and Grimer have escaped in the confusion. Brutus will track them down later. For now, he calls to his ship to send down the new recruits. Brutus directs Sonic to look out the window. Sonic warns Brutus to not try any tricks. He wants to see his friends now. Then look outside, Spikeball. Sonic looks and is horrified by what he sees. Amy and Johonny are now Badniks. Behold, Spikeball, your former friends Amy and Johonny are now evil Badniks loyal to me, states Brutus. Things keep getting worse and worse for Sonic. As if dealing with the self-proclaimed invincible trooper wasn't bad enough, now his former friends are his enemies. This is not good. The Badnik Johonny shouts, "Die, outlaw!" Sonic's gotta move fast. The Badnik Johnny's not messing around. Badnik Johonny blasts at Sonic and he falls off the balcony. The Badnik Amy, however, catches him. Sonic knew Amy wouldn't let him down. Big mistake. Badnik Amy throws Sonic right through a "Robotnik is watching you" billboard, crashing Sonic onto a roof of a nearby building. Sonic realizes that Badnik Amy and Badnik Johonny mean business, but how can he fight his friends? Meanwhile, observing the action from Citadel Robotnik, Commander Brutus is confident his new Badniks will take care of the hideous hedgehog. It's time he tracked down Robotnik and destroyed him. It's time to end this. Shortfuse pulls himself out of the hole after he had been beaten by Brutus and smashed into the floor. Shortfuse states he won't let Brutus rule the planet, even if he is stronger than him. Brutus turns to face Shortfuse. Cybernik, there is no if about it. No one is stronger than Commander Brutus. And he throws Shortfuse off the Citadel's balcony as if he was nothing. Meanwhile, Johonny continues to blast at Sonic, shouting at him to die. Sonic states that Johnny's conversations have become a bit limited since he became a Badnik. Shortfuse crashes down next to Sonic. Sonic's glad he could use the help. Shortfuse just needs a moment to pull himself together. He's still reeling from Brutus's beatdown. There's no time to spare though, and Sonic tells him to move it. Sonic tries to hit Johonny with a super spin attack, but he misses. Sonic is holding back because they are his friends, but if he doesn't get his act together, they'll finish him off instead. The Badnik Johonny then shoots at Shortfuse. Shortfuse gets mad, he refuses to get picked on, and blasts the Badnik, destroying it and freeing Johonny. Sonic catches Johonny, and they regroup with Shortfuse. However, the Badnik Amy still remains, and she immediately attacks them with her rapid-fire crossbow bolts. Meanwhile, beneath Citadel Robotnik, Grimer and Robotnik make their way to the armory. Grimer advises against his master to use the experimental war armor. It's still untested, but Robotnik tells him to be silent.
This may be the only way of stopping that traitor Brutus.
Close behind, Brutus follows Robotnik and Grimer's trail using his infrared vision. "You can't hide from me, Robotnik, you old has-been," shouts Brutus. Suddenly, Brutus is knocked to the floor with a powerful punch right to his jaw.
Enough of your insults, you second-rate upstart!
Robotnik is now wearing the war armor.
It's time I taught you who's the boss around here!
Brutus is ready. Sonic, Shortfuse, and even Supersonic all failed to truly defeat Commander Brutus. Now it is up to Dr. Robotnik himself to finally put an end to the Ultimate Trooper. The stakes could not be any higher. The winner of this fight will determine who will be the ruler of Planet Mobius. There can only be one. The real battle is about to begin. On the roof of a building near Citadel Robotnik, the Badnik Amy isn't taking prisoners. She fires a barrage of crossbow bolts from her wrist-mounted launchers straight at Sonic. Sonic's got to do something fast. Sonic dashes out of the way at super speed, sucking the crossbow bolts into his slipstream and sending them straight back at Badnik Amy. They destroy the Badnik armor, freeing Amy, who falls to the floor. Sonic goes to check if she's okay. Amy thanks Sonic with a big kiss while calling him handsome. Sonic jokingly thinks that he might have preferred her as a mad murderer. The freedom fighters then descend to the streets of the Metropolis Zone. Johonny is happy that everyone is finally reunited. "No time for small talk, Johonny," replies Sonic. "It's time for them to get out of here before Brutus shows his ugly mug." Suddenly, Brutus smashes up through the concrete floor in front of them. Robotnik, who's right behind him, crawls out of the hole that Brutus just made. The freedom fighters notice that the two tyrants are engaging in an epic showdown. Sonic instructs everyone to hang back. "Both of them are enemies. Whose side do we take?" asks Johonny. "Neither," replies Sonic, who hopes they'll wipe each other out. Robotnik and Brutus now battle through the streets of the Metropolis Zone, with the fate of Mobius hanging in the balance. They both exchange thunderous, powerful blows to each other.
You dare to challenge my power! I created you!
Your time is over, Robotnik. I rule Mobius now. The sound waves from their punches can be felt throughout the city. Even from as far as a mile away, it sounds like thunder. Nearby windows shatter as a result of these impactful blows. It appears that Robotnik is getting the upper hand and is overpowering Brutus. However, it was just a ploy. Brutus was holding back while he charged his blaster to full power. Brutus hits Robotnik with a direct full power blast, knocking Robotnik back several feet and causing him to crash to the ground. From this day forward, Brutus dubs himself Emperor Brutus. Robotnik's armour is now shattered and cracked and begins falling off. Brutus demands Robotnik admit defeat. He brags that he has a copy of Robotnik's mind and that he is Robotnik's equal.
That may have been the case at the time I programmed you, Brutus.
Brutus begins walking over to Robotnik, ready to inflict the final blow. Robotnik looks defeated and defenseless. However, when Brutus stands over him, Robotnik has a surprise.
But since then, I've acquired a few new tricks up my sleeve.
Shooting from the barrels on his wrist, Robotnik douses Brutus head to toe with liquid nitrogen. Brutus has no time to react as he realizes he is being frozen. Within a mere moment, Brutus is now motionless. It is a pity that Brutus inherited Robotnik's ambition, considering how much they could have accomplished together, says Robotnik.
But at the end of the day, all robots that fail me deserve to be scrapped.
And with a massive punch, he shatters Brutus's frozen body. Grimer crawls out of the hole that was previously made by Brutus. Robotnik is holding Brutus's head. Robotnik comments that isn't it amazing how fragile metal becomes at such cold temperatures, even the near invincible Megatau. Brutus is dead. The revolution is over. Amy is very happy that Brutus is finally no more, though Shortfuse wished he had been the one to take him down. Too bad Lardbelly's still around, comments Sonic. You can't win 'em all, and with this situation, it's better the devil you know. The sun is already starting to rise. It's been a very long night. The freedom fighters then finally head home. A few days later, Robotnik sends out a worldwide broadcast across Planet Mobius. Residents, freedom fighters, and even Badniks watch the announcement from the ruler of the planet.
Citizens of Mobius, heed my words. The so-called revolution is over. I am still your master. Over this last year, I have been foolish enough to share my power with another. I have now rectified that mistake. Commander Brutus is no longer with us. Using my genius, I have gained access to his frequencies and taken control of any Badniks who are loyal to him. However, there are still outlaws who dare to defy me. Any citizen caught helping these criminals will be punished. The recent battle has been a learning experience. You have all learned to fear me even more, for you know I am invincible. And I have learned to never trust anyone with my responsibilities. I will rule this planet. Mobius is mine forever.
Next to a monitor, Sonic watches the broadcast. Never say forever, Bone Dome. We finished this journey similar to how we started it. Robotnik is the ruler of Mobius. The threat of the Brotherhood of Metallix and Commander Brutus is over. What does the future hold for Planet Mobius? Will Robotnik's reign ever come to an end, or is the planet doomed to live under the ruthless tyrant's regime, as he puts it, forever? Next time. An elderly blue hedgehog arrives on the scene claiming to be Sonic from the future, but all is not as it seems. Knuckles continues his exhausting quest across Mobius as he tries to find a way home. Then, Robotnik creates a new Cybernik, this time one that is 100% loyal to him. Sonic gets trapped in the Special Zone with no way back, leaving Mobius without its blue hero. Robotnik's regime cranks up the heat as large protests begin to appear in the Metropolis Zone. The people are resisting Robotnik. They want him out. It's the war of the people versus Robotnik's forces as we reach boiling point. Then finally, Dr. Robotnik gets the news he has been waiting so long to hear. The secret location of the Emerald Hill folk. Dr. Zachary has finally awakened and joins forces with Robotnik, giving the dictator this information. Robotnik plans to extract his ultimate revenge on the Emerald Hill folk, but an exploding asteroid proves to potentially bring his empire crashing down. Next, on the complete history of Dr. Robotnik Part 3, Resistance to Collapse, the Fall of Dr. Robotnik.